All right. Looks like we're live. What's going on, everybody? Oh. Oh my goodness. Dog wants the ball. Oh my god. Oh. That's a good dog. Wow, he's so big. Oh, that's a good dog.
Thesis.
All right.
I thought things couldn't get any worse, but things continue to stockpile in the Israetel files, and so here it is, chapter 6. Have you not seen Coach Greg and Mike Israetel for years make videos against each other?
How many energy drinks did you have today? I had 3.
Primarily me, 90% me, but how can I not when Israetel keeps on digging his own grave or shit pile and it continues to keep burning hot? Coach Greg, and I thought things couldn't get any worse, but things continue to stockpile in the Israetel files, and so here it is, chapter 6. The worst damage control in history. Wait till you see what Mike Israetel has recently done. Before we get into that, let me point out that Milo Wolf had posted a video apologizing for jumping the gun, for listening to Mike Israetel, for taking his word that in fact was the final draft. And so Milo, being a good friend of Mike, of course he's not going to throw Mike under the bus. He's not going to say anything bad from him. After all, did you all know that Milo Wolf's PhD, in fact, based on ChatGPT, says it was funded by Mike Israetel and RP Renaissance periods? And so in this graph, we see a bunch of names and we see how they're all tied together. Pay attention to the red line. Direct funding, money flow. We see Mike Israetel lining up directly to Milo Wolf, as well as Macro Factor, which is partially owned by Jeff Nippard. We see Kingpings in red with Mike Israetel and Jeff Nippard, and you can kind of see how everything is all connected. Of course, we've also seen Jeff Nippard go to bat to defend Mike Israetel, didn't care that he actually lied. How many times have they made videos together? How many times have they gone to bat for each other, making perhaps millions of dollars? And we can all...
That explains why Jeff is kind of involved in this. It all makes fucking sense now. So they're all basically business partners. Dude, it's so pathetic. Like, it's so weird how people think, too. Why would you want somebody who's such a liability, who could harm your reputation and your brand? Like, why would you stand up for them and vouch for them when, like, they're such a liability? It's so fucking retarded.
Also see the research allies in green. Eric Helms, Eric...
Yes, I know Solomon Nelson dropped a Nippard video. That's why I fucking mentioned it in the fucking stream title.
Trexler, James Krieger, and Greg...
Hassan's defense today was that his dog stubbed her toe, but also she doesn't wear a shock collar, just a vibrator collar that happens to have the distinct characteristics of the shock-enabled version.
Sure.
Closely match the ET300 Mini Educator half-mile remote e-collar, which does have shock prongs. It seems to match in shape, in the positioning of the charging port, in the texture of the plastic, unlike this one with the much more curvy light than the one Hassan has. This one, which is vibrate only, also has its charging point on the side. The one Hassan has the charging point in the middle, much like the shocking version, where the prongs that could deliver the shock are simply removable. You can just remove them. Or apparently, maybe, plausibly, ostensibly, cover them with black tape. That seems to be where we are now.
Well, yeah, I would have figured Hassan would just lie about this more. Dude, Hassan is such a piece of shit. I can't stand that fucking loser. Just absolute degenerate scumbag. Why the fuck even have a dog? If, like, you're gonna treat it like that and it annoys you so much, like, fuck that scum. Thanks for the donation, though, retard.
Knuckles. And so when you see how everything relates, how it ties together, it's almost like the mafia. One person is controlling this, doing that. They're spending money, they're receiving money, they're promoting each other. Everything ties together. And so I've been talking to Milo Wolf literally right now, and he quite literally doesn't know what to do. Mike found out that Solomon's version also wasn't the final one, LOL. After doing some research, how many times can someone who wrote a thesis, a PhD, one that he spent perhaps an entire year on, make mistake after mistake after mistake? I mean, in his last post on Instagram, he literally said, "That's on me twice." 2 mistakes that simply don't add up. I have to tell you, my honest opinion is I don't think that Milo is doing anything wrong. He's going to back to save his friend, and he keeps getting a different message.
Of all of America's much more.
Yes, I know Hassan uses a shock collar on his dog. Maybe we'll watch this later, but, like, I already know the whole story. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo. I want to get through the other stuff first.
And he doesn't know what to do. He deleted his last video. He recorded another video. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know if he should post.
Can you react to this?
I'm definitely not wasting 25 minutes on this dumb shit.
And just when you couldn't hate Hassan Piker even more.
A left-wing streamer is going viral from
Of America.
including call user on X.
Yes, I already know about this. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. I'm not watching 25 minutes of this stupid shit.
Alright. Daphne! From suicide ideation. Just gotta do it. Let's hear that. And do it anyway. Our bodies for our. Again, this is carnivores. You want to be.
It's not worth my time. Thanks for the donation, dude. Kid Beard on Tillers watch Soul Eater. I'd be willing to watch Soul Eater. Heard good things about it. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo.
It, if he should take anything down, he's unsure of what to do. The only way for this to truly be settled were if Mike were to literally sit down, make a video, start to finish, explaining everything. If Solomon could spend 100 hours explaining why his PhD thesis did not make any sense, then Mike should do a solid and try to clear his name by explaining exactly the process that led to Solomon making that video. He can be purposely obfuscatious and try to deceive everyone. I mean, think of the way he's explained this. Does it actually make any sense? Every time it's a different post saying a different thing with multiple slides. It takes a rocket scientist to even understand the mistakes that he's kind of admitting to.
Last few days, Mike went from, "That wasn't the final version of my thesis," to, Okay, fine, it was the final version, we just edited it after Solomon exposed it.
Oopsie!
Also, shout out to Greg Doucette for mentioning my channel. Greg, I know you're watching this, and I know you're about to make 50 videos about this topic.
And so, of course, you can follow this up with Zerk Fitness, and all you see is this shredded muscle character, kind of looks like this. And imagine if this was literally the catabolic twig in disguise. I mean, would it not be better to find out who's actually making the video after all?
Mike claimed the early
If Hassan hates dogs so much, then why did he even bother to get one? Why couldn't he just get a less annoying pet than like a tortoise?
I'm sure from his perspective, the dog is like an accessory item. Or he's like one of these fucktards who's like, I don't know, maybe met a dog in like at a park or something, and he's like, oh, dogs are cute. And then he didn't like consider how a dog is like a living creature with thoughts and feelings, and you need to take care of it properly, and they might not do things that you want it to do all the time. And then, like, he just treats it like shit because he just doesn't care and he only thinks about himself. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
earlier version from March was the clean final draft, and the later version from August that Solomon reviewed was a messy rough draft. How does a rough draft from August have more errors than a final version from March?
And so make that make sense. And so on Mike's actual video by Dr. Matthew Nagra, it says, so the version you and Milo reviewed was an older but somehow more clean version. Is this a joke? Scientific Snitch responded, liking and posting to my story. And may as well include Goop's comment, a man who exposes the truth on the internet, very good at what he does, as I want to show both sides of the story. Goop writes, I don't think I could find a way to care less about this. Post more training footage and ignore these nerds. Listen.
Mike's training videos are fucking terrible.
Mike has some fans, strong fan supporters, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with somebody supporting their buddy, their friend, the same way as Milo Wolf did. Goop has a platform where he exposes the truth, exposes liars, and in this situation, he couldn't care less. I don't think that long-term, overall, that people are going to care. I think many people feel like Goop, while the other half are more like the Scientific Snitch and Dr. Matthew Nagra. And so, depending on what side you're on, you're going to think, hey, this is stupid, we shouldn't make videos about this. But the other side, they say, please give us more. We want the entire Netflix documentary. And so, Mike, he thinks he's being crystal clear, that he's
So tortoises have thoughts and feelings too, VG.
That is true. They do indeed. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
explained everything, that he's being open, honest, and transparent. Sure, if we define transparency as purposeful obfuscation, then sure, yeah, he's transparent. And so the opposite of transparent, I mean, perhaps a little translucent, as in you can kind of see through it, but it's like clouded up, muddied up waters. You can see through it a little bit, but just barely, just enough to say, hey, you can see through it, right? Wrong, we can't. Unless your IQ is 160 plus, like Mike Israetel, you know, off the charts, he's been tested multiple times, it's very difficult to understand what he's actually saying.
So you get every single question right. And so my IQ is above 160. We don't know how high because they don't do standardized IQ tests above that.
Of course, with a man as smart as Mike.
I'm smarter than you, and I'm better.
Yeah, if he had a 160 IQ, his PhD dissertation wouldn't be that terrible. He's dumb as, like, he's really dumb. Like, keep in mind, this is the guy who said he cries when he talks to ChatGPT. He's also publicly stated that he thinks his wife is ugly. He thinks that race is a biological, scientific, like, phenomena or fact when it's not. And he supports the idea of race realism. When asked directly whether or not he is a white supremacist, he said, I don't know, maybe. Like,
How much stock do you take in Greg/Solomon's opinion on this? Greg is clearly a retard that just wants to view farm, even if Solomon's views are more structured and have some valid critiques. He's also just view farming on the Mike Israetel hate wave primary.
I don't know what the fuck that has to do with anything. Thanks for the donation, Red Ninja.
One of the smartest, if not the smartest coach in the entire world.
I'm both on a raw IQ scale smarter than almost every coach.
Why did he continue to make so many mistakes
Yeah.
in his PhD thesis? I personally did not get a PhD, so I
You know, if Hassan claims to be so smart, why can't he see that animals have feelings too?
He's dumb as shit. If he were born like 30 years earlier, he'd be selling pencils on the side of the fucking road. That, or he'd just be in pornos. Like, I don't even know if he could do that, but yeah, he's a fucktard. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo.
don't know exactly what goes into it. Milo Wolf has. He tried to explain it to me like this, and so I'm going to read some of the things he said. And remember, he's doing his best.
Started doing more barbell presses and my lower back hurts. Should I get a belt? That's not going to help your lower back in all likelihood. And 115 is very lightweight. I also don't know what you mean by your lower back hurts. Weightlifting will make your body hurt. That's extraordinarily unspecific. I don't know what you mean by that kind of pain. Does your actual lumbar spine hurt? How does it hurt?
To explain what he believes has happened. Did Mike give you one draft or more than one draft to look at? Because Mike said he gave him the original draft and then there were multiple drafts. The story kept changing. Milo Wolf says initially one, then multiple. I'm not sure why. I don't even feel like speculating. And when I asked him to confirm whether the one I suspected was the final one was the final, he confirmed. And so Milo said, look, I'm making a video on this. This is very important. I need to confirm with you, Mike, you're my friend, which is the final draft, because that's the one I'm going to make a video on. He confirmed it, Milo Wolf made a video on it, and then later said, oopsie, it wasn't the final draft after all. Who do you think overall is the most likely culprit in this fiasco? I do not think that Milo Wolf did anything wrong. I don't see it. I believe that it's on Mike Israetel, and Mike Israetel says, yes, it's on me. Yep, I gave him the wrong draft. How many times can you give the wrong drafts to people before people are going to cry wolf?
Well, Milo clearly did do something wrong. He trusted Mike Israetel. The guy is a fucking idiot. Why in the hell would you trust an idiot? So that's what he did wrong. Like, just being friends with this guy, you'd have to have a fucking problem. Like when I start hearing somebody say things like, I think my wife is ugly and I was never physically attracted to her, and they're saying this publicly. When you hear them say, I support race realism and I might be a white supremacist. When you hear somebody say daily alcohol consumption is good for you. I cry when I talk to ChatGPT. Don't be friends with that person. There's something fucking wrong with them. They have clearly they're lacking in moral character. They're mentally unhinged. And they're fucking stupid. Like, if you're friends with somebody like that who says these things publicly, like, you're a fucking moron. Debate, face IQ. I mean, that dude's such a fucking waste of time. Like, if we were to debate, like, it'd probably be a descriptive debate, and it'd just be like debating a flat earth.
Also, guess who defending Tucker Carlson VG?
Bibi's running around, this is a fact, I'm not guessing about this, because I talked to people he said it to, is running around the Middle East, his region, and his own country, and telling people point blank, just stating it, I control the United States, I control Donald Trump. He's saying that, and I dare them to say that's not true. Bibi, not the nation of Israel, not Israel.
Who fucking cares? That's great. I don't know what that has to do with anything. The Young Turks are, like, by the way, running a fucking story like that when Tucker Carlson is such a known fucking crazy liar, and, the guy's a literal Nazi. He's literally gone on podcasts saying Hitler wasn't that bad of a guy, and we got it all wrong. And then you're sharing a video clip of him being like, oh, look what Tucker Carlson said. Yeah, this is a reliable source of information on Israel. The guy who said Hitler isn't that bad. Like the Young Turks, they even supported that fucking anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that the Jews were behind 9/11. They really should be banned from YouTube. Them and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Blackberry donated $2. Frank Tufano admits Dr. Debon warned of risks to vision. Yeah, he said all this, and then he lied about it later.
What did I do? What the fuck did I do? Oh, wait, you know what? I'm going to try to find that email to see when I got the genius idea to get my eyes gouged out. It was summer of last year. So June of 2022 was when I was interested in getting this procedure. And then, he told me about, the vision stuff and the recovery, and it turned me off a bit. And then, over the next year, I thought about it a lot, if I wanted to get it done or not. And eventually,
So we warned him. Yeah.
Towards the middle of this year, I convinced myself to do it. So, as I said earlier, this is not this wasn't an impulse thing, I thought about it for almost 2 years and then scheduled the surgery, and I felt good about it. So I was like, whatever, either way, it's going to look better after than before.
Yeah, well, he rolled the dice. Thanks for the donation, Blackberry.
What they did when?
Wasn't too long ago. That was literally a few weeks ago. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
2013, it's the wrong draft back then. You said you submitted to the university, uploaded the wrong one. It's 2025 now, and another draft has edited version of it, and somehow you tell Milo Wolf and confirm that that's the proper draft when it isn't. And so, as a scientist at genius level, does he not have a greater onus to do proper work, proper research? And so if he can make multiple mistakes on a paper he himself wrote, how can we trust him in the future to not make such basic errors, and when he does make them, to admit them right away? And so essentially it looks as though he did in fact cover it up, but he's not admitting to this. He's admitting it to other things, to other mistakes, and he's not posting it on his YouTube channel because that would get far more views. Millions of people perhaps would watch that in comparison to perhaps a couple 100,000 from Milo Wolf. And so Milo says this is what he thinks happened. But remember, he can't confirm this. He doesn't actually know. This is how he believes it went down. He likely passed the thesis we're talking about with revisions. And so he says, meaning he passed provided he made certain changes to the dissertation. Fix XYZ and you're golden. And so he cut down around 60 pages and changed a bunch of things that the examiners asked for. However, he likely rushed the process and introduced a bunch.
This is the most stupid cope excuse I've ever heard in my fucking life. So he submitted a better version of the paper. The examiners told him, we'll pass you so long as you make these changes. he fucked it up and made everything worse. And then they didn't look at his paper again and they just passed him. That doesn't make this look any better. Like, oh my God.
Of mistakes. After all, he'd already passed. He just needed to make revisions.
I meant when I do barbell shoulder press, my lower back hurts immediately after, lasts for a few hours, and it's not muscle soreness. Has this happened to you? No. So there's a few things to note here. One, soft tissue soreness can feel, especially in your lower back, like it's your spine. Your erectors run right along your spine, and it can very likely feel like it might be your actual lumbar spine when it's not, and people they end up being hypochondriacs about back pain. Back pain is one of the most like stupid things to research because for whatever reason people freak out about lower back pain. So I don't know if what you're feeling is actually your lumbar spine being sore. If I had to guess, if it actually is, you may be leaning back way too fucking far when you're pressing. And if you're in like an extreme degree of hyperextension, and you're pressing overhead, that could cause like, you know, pain in your discs or something. The fix for that isn't going to be a weightlifting belt, though. The fix for that is going to be improving your overhead press form. So that would be my advice.
To the examiner's satisfaction. And so we're going to blame Mike here. We're going to blame the university. Is this actually true? Is that what actually transpired? Is Mike admitting to this? This is what Milo Wolf thinks happened. This is the
Are there people out there who genuinely find Mike Israetel to be funny? He literally has the worst sense of humor out of any YouTuber I've seen try to incorporate comedy into their videos. Total cringe.
Oh, it's nauseating. It's horrendous. And, like, it's the type of humor that is just so annoying to listen to. Not only are his jokes not funny and they don't land, but you can tell he thinks he's being so hilarious. And he deliberately spends so much time talking about an unfunny joke because he's just sniffing his own farts the entire time. Haha, I am so hilarious and funny. Everyone thinks I'm so funny. I'm going to ramble on and on about the stupid fucking joke that just sucks and is stupid and waste everyone's fucking time until I get to the actual point of the fucking video. Like, after the 1,000th time hearing some, like, stupid fucking penis joke, I'm, like, totally fed up. I literally cannot watch any of his fucking videos because I know he's gonna spend 5 minutes making some bad fucking penis joke. And it like, his videos are just a waste of fucking time anyway. He doesn't make any informative content anymore, and all he fucking does is react to other people, like, lifting, or he just rambles about bullshit that just doesn't fucking matter and has no interest to me. And, like, most of his opinions are just fucking stupid anyway. So, yeah, it's horrendous. Thanks for the donation, Blackberry. Retard donated $2. Let me see. How Hitler treats dogs, how Hassan treats dogs. To be fair, apparently Hitler did abuse his dogs. There are eyewitnesses who stated that he would beat his dogs. But again, if you're not doing much better than Hitler, that's not saying much. Thanks for the donation, retard.
Best
Trend Prolapse donated $2. I had no idea Mike explicitly calls his wife ugly. Where can I find the clip? Fuck. Why in the... Let me see if I can just search for the clip.
He's saying, look, Renaissance periodization is about making people healthy.
Mike Israetel.
Yeah, so you met your wife online, is that right?
I did, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Was it because of your physique?
God, no. My wife likes me for a few reasons, and that's why she's with me. It turns out that my own aesthetic preferences on physique just are not really her high priority. Don't make me feel when I was the Arnold.
I don't think that's it.
How did you meet Crystal? On Facebook. No way. Your wife, to me, seems like maybe here and there.
That's it. It was on a podcast. The way he worded it was, when I first saw my wife, I said, ugh. I didn't find her attractive, but over time I grew to like her personality. Like, that's basically how he worded it. He said when he first saw her, he said, ugh. Like he actually said he was disgusted by how she looked.
When her and I were just started dating, I met her to I was in California and she was going to school here, and we were at like a seminar for lifting or whatever, and she showed up and she looks adorable, little business outfit, little pencil skirt or whatever, and she was pissed because something had happened at her like work or school, and someone tried to throw her under the bus, and she was talking to me and she was like, oh, she did that.
That's not it. I think the reason he said that was because he thought it made him look good, saying that the only reason he's with his wife is because of her personality or something. He might have been like actually lying and thought his wife, like, she's not ugly.
When her and I,
like, she looks fine. Like, she's not an ugly person. I think he said that in the podcast episode. It was on some podcast. I think he said it because he thought it made him look good to suggest that the only reason he's with his wife is because of her personality, not because of her looks. And he, like, overdid it. The clip is fun. It's somewhere. It's probably buried. I remember it was part of a compilation somebody made of Mike saying like some of the stupidest shit imaginable. But
AI Joey is still sentient looking.
Oh my god, he does look sentient. Oh. Whoa. He still looks really sentient. Even in the AI. Oh my god, that's amazing. Thanks for the donation, even though. Yeah, so I think that's the context behind him saying it. He just said something really fucking stupid, and he kind of lied about it because he thought it made him look good, but it didn't. Also, have you experimented with Anavar yet? No. I'm gonna add it to my 200 milligram test cycle soon. I wouldn't recommend taking it for very long. If you're gonna take like something like 20 milligrams, which is what like most dudes do as a first Anavar cycle, I wouldn't take a dose like that for more than 8 weeks at a time. it crushes your HDL. Like you may very likely end up with single digit HDL levels, which isn't really, like, I know HDL is a non-causal risk factor for heart disease, but it's probably a sign it's not doing something good for you. And it is pretty liver toxic. Like, I know people say it's like the safest oral. It's still pretty liver toxic. So if you take it for more than 8 weeks, you're going to notice your GGT levels are definitely elevated. So yeah, if you take a lower dose, like 10 milligrams or something, like you could probably take it for longer, but I wouldn't take it for over 8 weeks at 20 milligrams. Thanks for the donation, though, Trend Prolapse.
Explanation he could come up with.
Immediately after Solomon's video dropped, Mike restricted access to his thesis on the university website. Why hide the original if there's nothing to hide?
Is it possible to make changes, to make revisions, to come up with a plan to deceive us?
Mike's new excuse is that the errors were just clerical. Brother! Those clerical errors included athletes who were negative 1.6 years old.
And so is that being transparent to say, yeah?
You're welcome.
And I clicked on her picture, and it kind of looked like her eyes were too close together. I was like, ugh. But she was like in medical school and everything.
Yeah. That's okay. It wasn't a podcast. It was him training with Chris Williamson.
And I was like, oh, this bitch is commenting in like powerlifting circles, and so was I. And she liked the posts here and there, and I read her comments, and I would be like, oh, this bitch is kind of smart. And I clicked on her picture, and it kind of looked like her eyes were too close together. I was like, ugh. But she was like in medical school and everything. And I was like, all right, med school, that's a huge flex, because at that point in my life, I wasn't really, I wasn't looking for any more flings. I was looking for...
How long ago was this?
Oh, geez, 10 years ago. And...
Yeah. So he literally announced publicly 2.3 million people watched this, and he said, yeah, when I first saw my wife, I met her on Facebook, and I looked at her profile, and I thought she was hideous, and I literally cringed. And she's like gross looking, and her eyes were too close together. But, you know, I thought she was smart, and she's in medical school. He thought that sounded good. Yeah, but thanks for that. Appreciate it. Thanks for the donation, Blackberry.
I admit it, I made a few clerical errors when there were hundreds with an S, plural, of errors, with mislabeled tables, charts, misinformation, and Milo Wolf saying there were 60 fewer pages in the end. He's not being transparent.
Jeff Nippard was in the comments defending Mike, mocking Solomon, saying people don't understand how PhD programs work. Now, Jeff looks like a clown who got duped.
And so Jeff just continues to take L's. I mean, why defend your friend without even getting the correct information? Making it look like Solomon was a bad person for making a video, like he did something wrong? Saying he corrected...
Yeah, he ended up deleting that post, which is hilarious. Like again, knowing Mike and how he says the dumbest shit and how this guy is like just a fucking degenerate fucktard. Like, just imagine the type of person who would publicly say something like, my wife is ugly and I'm not attracted to her. Like, just that type of person is someone that you cannot trust. They have, like, no morals and they're a fucking idiot. Like, I don't want to bring it up, but, like, my past relationship, that was bad. There was so much shit going on behind the scenes that I just never talked about. But the reason I never talked about it or shared it publicly is because, like, what does that do for anybody? Like, why would I talk bad about my partner publicly? Like, if I have an issue with them, I'll bring it up with them. I don't have to, like, air out any kind of dirty laundry or say anything nasty about them publicly. But, yeah, Mike does that. Like he... And, like, of all the things to say, like, that's got to be one of the, like, most awful, humiliating things you can say about your fucking partner, that you think they're fucking ugly. Especially when you're talking about a chick. Like, the guy is just not somebody you can fucking trust. And then Jeff, like, oh yeah, let me stand up for Mike, the fucktard. Just stupid.
I'm curious how much money Greg makes promoting that fake supplement of his. What do you think? Do you think he's banking on it?
He's a millionaire from it. He has a, I think the Mercedes he owns is like $150,000 to $200,000. He has a Lamborghini Urus. That's like what, another 200 grand. He has a McLaren. That's like another, I think he said he paid close to $1 million for that car. And he just recently bought a Ferrari. I think it's a Ferrari Superfast or something. It's a V12. And that's an expensive car too, obviously. So he's a millionaire. Like, you can just look at his cars. His cars alone total up to a couple million. That's not to mention the house he owns. He showed his whole house. Like, he lives in a mansion. So, yeah, he's making millions of dollars off that shit. Thanks for the donation, though, even though. I've gotta take a piss. I will be right back. Ugh. You sound like the most miserable person. You sound like somebody that I'm gonna ban from my chat. Go fuck yourself. Ugh. Ugh. Are you against the World Economic Forum diet? Thanks for the stupid question.
Oh my god, Mike, you are entitled to find woman attacked because of their looks. Don't be so woke.
Yeah. It's pretty gay to think that way. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Special needs person donated $2. Jeff's income doesn't only consist of just the supplement, but also stuff like his YouTube channel. I think you meant Greg. Thanks for the donation, though, special needs person. Tren Prolapse donated $2. Yeah, I plan on only running 25 milligrams VAR for the last 4 weeks of my cut. On Tudka plus NAC for liver support. Glutathione is also good. You might want to add that too, but, you know, it's only 4 weeks. Glad to see you've embraced steroids, by the way. The fear-mongering from natties over-exaggerates their negatives. Low dosage plus regular blood work is better than being natty, yeah. Well, you can look at people who, you know, take moderate doses and, you know, take, you know, good track and care of their health over time. They age better. Like, steroids are good for you. They just are. Like, yeah, you can find people who abuse them like fucking retards. Like, who's that dumbass? There's that 20-year-old kid who wears the masks, genetic freak or something. Like, that kid's a fucking idiot. Like, he had to get the gynecomastia surgery because he was taking extremely high doses of test along with nandrolone. And, like, he literally does not understand how these drugs work, like, clearly. For him to get crazy, like, gyno like that. Yeah, genetic anomaly. And, like, the acne and everything that I've seen him have, like, he clearly doesn't know how these fucking drugs work. Yeah, Togi's another example. Like, Togi not only takes, like, really high doses of orals, like, no, not Superdrol. He was on, well, he might have been on Superdrol. Anadrol. But, like, he's also done pretty high doses of Tren and shit, too. And on top of that, he takes party drugs, like he does cocaine and shit. You know, those people don't age well. But if you look at somebody like Mike O'Hearn, they age better. And I think part of the reason is, like, one, your hormone levels do naturally decline over time, and just maintaining more ideal hormone levels is probably just better for you. But these drugs also improve your ability to heal, recover. They give you more energy. They increase collagen synthesis, which goes down over time as you age. And you'll notice, like, a lot of people who are on moderate doses of steroids, their skin looks better as they age. Like, Mike O'Hearn, I'm sure he's gotten Botox and stuff like that, but if you look at the skin over his entire body, other people his age, like, you can tell their skin has degenerated, like, they're wrinkly and they kind of got more loose skin and stuff. Mike O'Hearn's skin, it looks like somebody's skin, you know, like somebody who's in their 20s. So, yeah, like, it's just fucking stupid. But, you know, dumbasses can just promote this fear-mongering bullshit. And they can just, you know, get shittier as they age and get all these injuries and joint problems and stuff because they're not taking stuff like growth hormone and other anabolics that'll protect their joints and their connective tissue and their skin and all that. You know, but, you know, the smarter people can figure things out. Thanks for the donation, Trend Prolapse. Dodo donated $2. Let me see.
51. The nays are 47. The nominations in block are confirmed.
So I'm not
Under the previous order, the motion to reconsider is considered made and laid upon the table, and the president would be...
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Herschel Walker was just confirmed by the Senate to be U.S. ambassador to the Bahamas. Okay, I know what this is. He will be the first confirmed ambassador to the Bahamas since 2011. Yeah, okay, so this is like literally... This is what the Nazis did, by the way. People who are loyal to the party just got bullshit positions and were just given money. This is what this is.
All right, Nelson Walker.
Yes, ma'am.
There you are. All right, you're charged with stealing a Dolphin jersey.
So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended,
That is correct, Your Honor.
and he was just driving, and he didn't have a license.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Okay. I had to replace all my IDs. I had gift cards in there, my earpiece, and a calculator.
There was no earpiece in her mail.
I love it.
Give me what was stolen.
My wallet.
What was in your wallet?
It was $50.
Okay.
I had to replace all my IDs. I had gift cards in there, my earpiece, and a calculator.
There was no earpiece
There was no earpiece.
in her mail.
I love it.
So he admitted to stealing.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $500. That's what I think.
Yeah, criminals tend to not be too smart. Interesting turn of events. Newly elected Sane Takachi wants to accelerate the development of fusion and make the country 100% energy self-sufficient. Yeah, sure. That's just politicians saying things. Mosque in New York. They blast call to prayers 5 times a day. Oh yeah, you want to bet under Mom Donnie nobody's going to do anything about this? I'd, if I had to deal with this, like, I'd literally sabotage their building and, like, blow up their fucking fuse box or something. Like, fuck this shit. Yeah, this Islamic invasion is just fucking insane. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Dodo donated $2. Hamas members proudly film themselves kidnapping children to hold them as hostage. I don't know if that's what that was.
Told me off record. 2 people who have...
I don't care.
Some of the things that have been going around on public, namely about a group text chain that has been made known and released by Candace Owens. And I just want to address...
Okay. Oh, well, I guess that confirms that then Israel did it.
He answered none of them. You know, the author Michael Wolff, who has interviewed Trump repeatedly, says he's seen about a dozen photographs of Trump and Jeffrey Epstein with topless women. Trump's BF Jeff kept them in his safe and showed them to this guy. So this morning, Rhode Island Senator Sheldon Whitehouse asked Bondi if the FBI found those photos.
There's been public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found those photographs.
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump.
Well, that's not a no.
Left and right.
Didn't hear the word no there, did you?
Yeah. Fucking retarded. Jesus Christ, that's insane. Polish woman who ate only fruit, died of exhaustion, belly weighing less than 23 kilograms, refused to eat any cooked or processed food. Yeah, well, she was clearly just anorexic. A lot of anorexics will hide their eating disorder by doing stupid shit like that. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Kid Boo, don't need $2, yet your bitches still want to hate.
Talk about how Demon Slayer is on a generational run right now. Not only is it triggering Hollywood, but it's also in the top 10 highest grossing films of 2025. And keep in mind,
That's not very difficult right now.
Demon Slayer did this with a $20 million budget, and they made over $500 million with a $20 million.
Yeah, Demon Slayer sucks. Like, it's just garbage. If Demon Slayer came out like 20 years ago, I don't think anybody would give two fucking shits about it. It's just terrible. It's just that, like, nobody knows, you know, what good anime are anymore. Thanks for the donation, though, Kid Boo.
Can you tell us how you get 270 grams of protein while keeping the budget for grocery low? Explain your diet, please.
I eat tofu, beans, and protein powder. That's where most of my protein comes from. And I buy my protein powder from a bulk supplier to lower cost. But tofu's pretty cheap. Beans are pretty cheap. And the protein powder I get is not that expensive. I think it's $300 for 10 kilograms, and that's with tax and shipping. Thanks for the donation, though, JJ.
You know, VG, at this point I can't help but wonder if Trump and Epstein were gay for each other.
Probably not, but they probably both like to take advantage of women. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Natty Cope Destroyer donated $2. The medical field is examining the potential cardioprotective effects TRT has. Low T weakens your cardiac muscle. In a few decades, almost every guy above 40 will be on TRT. Natural elitism is literally a cult thanks to clowns like NH. I think in the next few decades, every dude in their 20s is going to be on testosterone, if not other anabolics alongside it. Like look at the amount of fucking teenage kids that are on steroids right now is kind of crazy. Yeah, the idea that in the next couple decades, like, dudes just in general aren't going to be on steroids is kind of hard to believe. So, yeah. Low testosterone, I don't know the exact mechanism, but I think some of it has to do with low testosterone possibly also being linked with either low estrogen or less estrogen imbalance. So that might have something to do with its effect on cardiac muscle. But yeah, I mean, being natural is just stupid. Thanks for the donation, Natty Cope Destroyer. Dodo donated $2 VG. You missed the best part. Listen.
No, there, did you? Did you hear it, Guillermo? No. No, I didn't hear it either. Well, maybe it'll help if Senator Whitehouse repeats the question.
The question is, did the FBI find those photographs that have been discussed publicly by a witness who claimed Jeffrey Epstein showed them to him? You don't know anything about that. Okay?
Did you eat the Polaroids yourself, Attorney General? Please. And then Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois jumped in.
Attorney General Bondi, why did you publicly claim to have the Epstein client list waiting for your review and then produce nothing relevant to that claim?
Senator Durbin, if you listen to my entire clip on that, I said I had not reviewed it yet, that it was sitting on my desk along with the JFK files, the Martin Luther King files. And I said I had not yet reviewed it.
Right, I got other things to do. Do you want Bigfoot making your kid trans? No.
Pam Bondi is like, she should be in jail. All these people who are loyal to Trump should be in jail. Drone show in China, hundreds of drones fell from the sky. Yeah, that sounds like China. Yeah, that does not seem planned. Are those lithium battery fires? Yeah, that is impressive. It looks like those look like lithium battery fires. That's crazy how that happened to all of them at once. Weird. You were name dropped multiple times, I'm sorry, but this guy didn't argue that well. I would suggest you debate Destiny.
Well, I guess when you say morally relevant distinction, what do you mean by that?
The same exact way that Isaac would have posed it to you, vegangains would have posed it to you, despite you know.
That's
going
not
to your
telling me
echo chamber
anything.
on
I'm
the
asking
stream.
you what do you mean when you say that?
Yeah, I saw some of these clips. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. I don't think debating Destiny on that topic is worthwhile anymore because he just lies. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. 5 new Frank shorts. Okay, we'll get through the Frank shorts. Thanks for the donation, 6.
You know, the Demon Slayer movie becoming such a hit is just more proof that Hollywood is dead.
Well, yeah. One of the reasons why it's one of the top grossing films is just because Hollywood's making garbage that nobody's watching. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
I had a video on this guy, giant implants, on my banned account, and there's some weird, like, Illuminati, secret society stuff going on promoting this guy because he's not a doctor. He's some kid in his mom's basement performing surgeries, and he actually tried doing procedures in a Turkish clinic with some actual doctors a few months ago, and they got shut down because I think I don't know if they killed some people or I know that for a fact they severely botched some people. This guy has already disfigured many people and ruined many lives, but it's just really fishy that this guy Clavicular, who just popped on the scene, is working with this guy. Really, really, really fishy stuff. I wouldn't trust these people with anything. This is just some money-making plot. That's all this is. I wouldn't watch.
Frank Tufano literally did the exact same thing. He was living at home with his parents, and when he first made his YouTube channel, his first videos were on his jaw. He had a double jaw surgery, just like, well, similar to what Clavicular wants to do.
These people, I wouldn't entertain any of their videos. They don't care about you. They're just in it for themselves, trying to make money.
Okay, that sounds like projection.
However, simultaneously performing 4 distinct procedures on both eyes, as sometimes mentioned in relation to Dr. Taban's work, is a highly specialized and uncommon approach. I wonder why that is. Is that not a simple enough reason to prove this guy is a scamming hack that not one other oculoplastic surgeon is doing 4 crazy procedures at once?
The main reason he's doing this is because he's greedy. He wants to charge as many people as much money as possible, bang them on that first surgery.
It's cheaper to do multiple procedures at once. That's generally why plastic surgeons try to do multiple procedures at once. Because if you do multiple procedures all separately, you have to book the procedure room. You also have to book the other staff that are required. And you also have to pay an anesthetist. I can never pronounce that word properly. You have to pay the anesthetist and pay for the anesthesia, which is extremely expensive. So if you do multiple procedures on different days, it's way more expensive. It magnifies the cost. So him saying the reason he's doing this is to charge people more, that couldn't possibly be the case. If anything, he's trying to save people money.
Because after Dr. Taban operates on you once, he's going to mess it up and you're never going to go back to him again. So if he was to do these 4 procedures separately and safely, after the first one, he'd be out of business because he would have messed it up. So instead of messing up 1 procedure at a time on you, he just messes up all 4 at once and gets his pay.
Yeah, he's a fucking idiot. This is pretty normal with plastic surgery. You'll see women who want to get breast implants and a liposuction. Plastic surgeons will often do those 2 procedures all in one go to save patients money. That's just normal. Frank's a fucking idiot. Healthiest cookies, yeah.
Our best batch of chocolate chip cookies so far here on Pure Sourdough. And what makes our baked goods so special is not only is everything sourdough, even our sweets, which is so difficult because of the sugar content.
How in the fuck do you make sourdough cookies? That just sounds horrendous.
We only use 100% USDA organic ingredients, glass bottle mineral water, and everything is egg and dairy free. No butter, no milk, no cream, no eggs. And
so they probably taste like shit.
And guys, I've been eating, 6, 7, 8 of these.
What is he... Is he using lard for the cookies? That would taste fucking gross. It's either that or he's using something like coconut oil. Coconut oil cookies, they're weird. They're, really oily. If he's not using butter, how is he even using lard? You'd have to heat it up first before you mix it. It's super hard and dense. So these cookies must fucking taste horrendous.
These cookies a
and
day.
Have a terrible fucking texture.
After my breakfast and lunch and dinner, and I do not gain weight, which is a testament to how healthy these are, how well they digest, and how good these are for you. And
oh, okay, chocolate chip cookies that won't make you gain weight. Okay, that's amazing.
I've been improving the recipe every time we make them. This is by far the best version, and I hope you guys enjoy this and all of the other baked goods we have available for Pure Sourdough on frankiesfreerangemeat.com.
Fuck you.
We have a very special new product this week on Frankie's Free Range Meat. It is an egg and cheese breakfast sandwich, as usual, made with only the highest quality ingredients. These are English muffins from Pure Sourdough using USDA organic flour, glass bottle milk.
Imagine being stupid enough to buy frozen egg and cheese sandwiches online.
Water, natural sourdough fermentation for several days. Then we used corn and soy-free eggs and raw provolone, raw Emmentaler cheese to create the egg and cheese center. So, instead of going to McDonald's and spending God knows how much now, $4 or $5 on a McMuffin, spend a few dollars more and get a much higher quality and nutritionally dense version of that sandwich. This is not only...
What's funny is the McDonald's sandwich is probably better for you because it's lower in saturated fat.
really, really good for you, it's also very filling because just the density of the calories of the grains and the eggs and cheese. Available on Frankie's.
Yeah, so this is literally worse for you than the McDonald's
Yeah, I mean, I don't
egg and cheese sandwich.
have much to say about this clavicular guy besides him being a racist, secret society shill. I mean, the only reason that's...
He's accusing Clavicular of being racist when Frank Tufano's a literal Nazi. He's a Holocaust denier and he hates Jews. One of his former lawyers dropped him as a client and refused to provide service for him because he was making anti-Semitic slurs towards his fucking lawyer.
Someone doesn't get canceled for saying the N-word is if they're in the club. And I mean, this guy is not only a horrible person from what I've seen, he has no understanding of health and nutrition. He gives horrific advice to kids, telling them to take things that will ruin their life forever, such as steroids and Accutane, each of
which Frank has taken. I don't know if he's taken Accutane, but Frank has taken steroids.
which should never be taken under any
I'm pretty sure Frank is actually still on steroids.
circumstances. And what's funny is he blocked me on all of my accounts before I've even interacted with him. That's probably because me being botched and my message trying to help people goes against what he's trying to do and just funnel money to the wrong people. And I don't want to get into the peptides and all BS, but this guy's a corporate shell, scheming, trying to make money. Wouldn't trust him.
So Frank is against steroids, but he sells like the most unhealthy, like fucking garbage food. And this guy also takes steroids, and he's also gotten a bunch of cosmetic fillers put into his face. I think he's gotten like hyaluronic acid injections. He's openly talked about getting lip fillers. So that's fine. But yeah, steroids bad, even though you take steroids. What a fucking idiot. Just one of the biggest clowns on the planet. Dodo Donatillers, can you watch this without skipping, or are you going to get bored? Yeah, I'm going to get bored. I'm not watching that. Like, I get it. I've seen all of his videos. Also, we watch this later for sure. Camp 14. Yeah, North Korea stuff's interesting. We can watch that later. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Kid Boo donated $2. Let me see.
Means that Jews want to reestablish a homeland, and they're calling this homeland Israel, and they want it protected. Can we go with that definition?
Andrew, did you not listen to me?
Yeah.
Are you not listening? I said it right here, Andrew. Do you want me to read this again, Andrew?
Yes.
Do you want me to read this again?
Yeah, read it again.
Zionism alone simply means the establishment and protection of a land, a country, a state where Jews can live freely.
Yeah.
A Jewish state in what is
Perfect.
now...
Okay, this is annoying. I am very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. This means that all the hostages will be released soon. Yeah, I can pretty much guarantee you they're not going to do any of this. This is just history repeating itself. Donald Trump made negotiations with the Taliban, and the Taliban literally never upheld any of the agreements they made. So, history is just going to repeat itself. They're not going to release all the hostages. They're not going to disarm. They're not going to do anything that was agreed upon. And then they're just going to play this game where they try to, lie, obfuscate, delay, and see what they can get away with. It's happened before. Thanks for the donation, though, Kid Boo. Trend Perlapse donated $2. Great points. Natty's loved strawman using reckless morons like Ziz, John Skywalker, Togi, all guys who abuse party drugs, alcohol, will take toxic compounds like Tren. If done right, you get healthier. My lipid insulin sensitivity improved on 200 milligrams test. Yeah, same. My LDL cholesterol went down by almost 20 points, and my HbA1c went down by 2 points. It went down from 5.1 to 4.9. Thanks for the donation, though, Trend Prolapse.
Not even the next 2 Avengers movies will save Hollywood at this point.
If anything, it'll probably accelerate its collapse. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
Driving home from work an hour ago, my tire fucking explodes cause I ran over some metal shit that fell out of a truck. Now I'm taking the back roads with a donut on, gonna get home late as foo when I should be ripped off the Benjamin by now. At least I got you.
Well, could have been worse. Could have hit a tree and died or something. Glass half empty versus half full mindset. Thanks for the donation, though, retard. Has a bad day.
Corrected the wrong draft, that he didn't do his due diligence, only to later find out that Mike, in fact, was wrong. And Jeff still won't admit that he'd made a mistake. Jeff has not retracted his statement. Jeff continues to this day to defend Mike and to say that Solomon is bad.
Mike's current story is that he gave Milo multiple versions of the thesis, except there's one tiny problem with that story that Milo himself said on YouTube 3 separate times, that Mike only gave him 1 document.
We basically confirmed that, and then later he gave him more documents. And remember, he did, in fact, confirm which was the correct one, of which he later changed his mind.
Either Mike is lying about giving Milo multiple versions, or Milo is lying about only receiving 1.
So can both be true? He gave him 1, and then he gave him multiple. Can you see it now? Are you starting to get it? I know it's a lot to take in, but hopefully you're starting to understand.
A smart person would have said, yeah, my dissertation was rough, I was young and rushed it, but look at all the quality work I've done since. Done. Everyone moves on.
I mean, let's really think about this. If Mike would have just said to Milo Wolf, yeah, the first draft, it didn't really pass. It was passed with, if you make these changes. And then I did another draft and I made those changes and the changes sucked, but they still passed it. It all goes away. Like that, it's over. Who cares? No one cares. It's over 10 years ago. I don't even care. The only reason I'm making these videos is because I know that you want to see them. I mean, have you not seen Coach Greg and Mike Israetel for...
Well, Mike probably has narcissistic personality disorder or narcissistic traits, so he can't admit that he did something not so good, and yeah, he has to lie and obfuscate.
For years make videos against each other, primarily me, 90% me, but how can I not when Israetel keeps on digging his own grave or shit pile and it continues to keep burning? Burning hot.
Mike just handed Greg the greatest gift possible. Proof that Mike lies when confronted with criticism and possibly commits forgery to cover his ass.
Is it forgery? Is it illegal? Has he broken any laws? I don't know the law. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just here reporting the news. Just like I'm here to report, and it's not. I understand why Goop is saying, who cares, it's from 10 years ago, but he's lying right now. And so when Mike says, for example, I was only on 100 milligrams of Tren, but I only took, for example, 300 milligrams of testosterone and 5 milligrams of halotestin, and all I felt was rage. Can you believe that he's actually being honest? That's the question. Can you believe everything that he stated? If everything that somebody says is right, and then they suddenly say something horrifically awful that makes absolutely no sense, does that not slightly discredit the other things that they've stated? If I said you can eat as many calories as you want as long as you're on a keto diet, like some of these other people have stated, would you not think?
Yes, master.
Solomon Nelson, release the Nippard say yes.
I pray you have considered the cost.
Jeff Nippard, a former client of mine, has turned nasty. Before we get into that, some context is needed. As you're probably aware, Mike Israetel has officially responded to my recent viral video, Mike Israetel's PhD, the biggest academic sham in fitness, in which I single-handedly unearthed what has turned out to be an academic scandal. This video will critically analyze Jeff Nippard's reaction to the situation. For those unfamiliar, Jeff Nippard is a prominent figure in the fitness world. He's a competitive bodybuilder, a highly successful YouTuber, and a self-proclaimed exercise scientist. My former client, Jeff Nippard, has not only weighed in on my critique of Mike Israetel's PhD thesis in the comments section of Mike Israetel's Instagram page, but also reached out to me via email and Instagram direct messages with, among other things, a very interesting request. In Chapter 2 of this video, I'll outline the story where Mike Israetel first alleged that I reviewed a mistakenly uploaded draft copy of his doctoral thesis, but subsequently admitted that I'd reviewed the correct text. I'll then pivot to Jeff Nippard in Chapter 3, where I'll provide some important framing by going over my history with this so-called scientist and how he came to be my two-time consulting client. In Chapter 4, I'll provide an overview of Jeff's recent attacks on me and his interesting request. In Chapter 5, I'll critically analyze said attacks and his interesting request. In Chapter 6, I conclude by discussing broader implications. On hearing about my review of Mike Israetel's dissertation, the author, Dr. Mike, claimed that the version of the thesis that I downloaded was a draft, uploaded to the university's official repository by mistake.
We now know Solomon was looking at an accidentally uploaded incorrect rough draft.
I've lied. I've lied a lot.
I guess technically I submitted the wrong draft to the graduate school.
Lying is easy as hell. I can do it at the drop of a hat.
A mere 4 days later, Mike confessed on Instagram that
You know, when somebody says to you they're a liar, I totally forgot about that too. Mike said he literally lies all the time. And he has a problem with lying. Like, when somebody, like, openly admits this, maybe don't trust them? The best coach, donate $2, rate it. Oh, jeez. $225. Like, by the way, why in the fuck would he buy this? He bought a Titan bench thing when he already has a squat rack. Well, that was not much weight, and just everything he does looks awkward. I don't know what he's fucking doing. Thanks for the donation, the best coach.
What is one thing you've been wrong about in the past?
Let's see. I used to think women were people, but now I know the truth. Thanks for the donation, retard narcissist test.
But the version that I'd read and reviewed was in fact the one that had been examined and passed in 2013. It therefore looks as if Mike lied about a superior version existing in 2013, that he had concocted a clean version for upload in October 2025 to substitute fraudulently for the one that was examined, that the cover-up was not going to convince anyone intelligent, and that the lie would backfire. So he walked it back. In the meantime, however, a lot of people had rallied behind Mike, denouncing me as a fool who had read and reviewed the wrong version, as if I somehow hadn't exercised due caution with my library skills. Jeff Nippard, the self-proclaimed scientist, was among them.
What anime shows do you recommend to a person who's new to anime? Death Note would be the most obvious kind of go-to. Death Note it doesn't have any like anime tropes. It's written sort of like a more traditional Western supernatural crime drama. So if you're not really into anime, that's probably the best anime to start with because it doesn't have any of the kind of classic anime tropes. It's also just an extremely good story. After that, like, it kind of depends what you want to watch. If you want to watch something that's like funny and comedic, One Punch Man's great. If you really want to get into some of the more traditional anime sort of stuff, Prison School is also really good. That one's hilarious. If you want something that's very similar to Death Note, then I would recommend Psycho Pass. The original Fist of the North Star is also fantastic. That one's it's hilarious. If you read the manga is much more serious and it has a very different tone, but the anime is just incredible. It's one of the most like campy, like sort of B-movie type of things that you'll ever fucking see. What else is there? I definitely recommend watching Akira. That's an anime movie. Akira is just fucking phenomenal. Series. Just thinking of what would be good for a new anime watcher. If you want to watch like a martial arts anime, I'd recommend watching either Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. Just make sure you watch make sure you follow a like guide to skip the filler. Naruto is also very good, but again, just make sure you use a guide to skip the filler episodes. Naruto is even worse than DBZ for that. Parasite, the Maxim, is also fantastic. You might like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That's another good one. Jobless Reincarnation is really good. That's an isekai. Rising of Shield Hero is really good. That's another isekai. It's only the first seasons of those two shows that are any good, though. But yeah, I'd branch out from there. But I'd recommend starting off with Death Note.
A gullible Jeff Nippard rashly assumed that Dr. Mike must be genuine, that he's concocted, cleaned up thesis.
Oh yeah, Mob Psycho 100's also fantastic. Chainsaw Man's also fantastic. Dorohedoro is also fantastic.
Must have been the correct one. That went to examination in 2013.
And the 1997 Berserk anime is also really good, but I'd recommend just reading the manga for Berserk.
A scientist should have known better than to accept that story. It should have been obvious to anyone with a sense of logic that Mike's story was improbable. Coach Greg called it immediately. Thousands of people on the internet began to see red flag after red flag in the clean copy that was supposed to replace the crap version that I'd reviewed. It looked like a forgery. It was obvious to everyone with a clear cognitive capacity that Mike's story didn't wash. Even Mike could eventually see it and fessed up. But now let's get to the story of how Jeff Nippard decided to weigh in on all of this with his razor-sharp intellect. This chapter describes my rich history with Jeff Nippard, which will nicely contextualize his recent attacks on me. As a teenage lifter, I was a huge admirer of Jeff's. He was, at one point, my favorite content creator. However, I grew disillusioned with him upon reading several of his frankly terrible training programs.
Dodo donated $2. Late-term abortion should be legal in my opinion, plus it's not like we need more humans on this planet. I mean, I literally don't give a fucking shit. If somebody wants to wipe out their offspring, I don't care. They'd probably be doing all of us a favor by having late-term abortion. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
You know, unrestricted abortion is probably worth it if it has a eugenic effect. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like in a vacuum, in principle, I would say it's immoral, but in terms of like a beneficial societal effect, yeah, probably a good thing. At least for now. You know, because most people who are getting abortions are meat eaters. Thanks for the donation, though, retard.
And when I say terrible, I truly mean it. On the 6th of January 2024, a 24-year-old Solomon Nelson released a video critiquing Jeff Nippard's bench press specialization program. In the video, I contended that it contained workouts that'd be physically impossible for most. The impossible workout calls for 4 sets of 6 reps at 85% of 1 rep max, with 3 to 5 minute rest intervals between.
Paul Gay Fano donated $2.
This is how you can tell if your produce, like apples, is organic instantly. So organic Fuji apple, organic produce always has a 9 in front of it on the barcode. So 94131. Conventional Fuji apple sprayed with pesticides, 4131.
That won't tell you if the apple's organic. Organic's a scam. The USDA has no capability to audit any farms, so what farmers do is they just claim their produce is organic so they can sell it for a higher price.
Sometimes they're also going to label it organic. Maybe it's in the organic section, but don't be fooled because that is not organic. And if you're ever wondering, make sure you see that 9.
Yeah. Pay more money for an inferior product.
A tea bag with warm water like this could create billions of microplastic particles in the tea. If you drink tea, you have to hear this. A recent study found that all different types of tea bags release millions, if not billions, of microplastic particles into your tea. Bottled water, which one study found 240,000 particles in a liter. Hot tea in tea bags is much worse for microplastics. The easy solution here is to use a stainless steel tea basket and loose leaf tea. There's not going to be any microplastics, but remember, this is important. A plastic tea bag, the polypropylene tea bags were the worst, but even the cellulose tea bags or the nylon tea bags released millions, if not billions of microplastics into your tea because of the hot water. So, simple.
Okay.
Sourdough bread, here's what I think. Better than regular breads. A lot of breads in the United States have more than 20 ingredients, including things like
I don't know why I'd... So this is just a natural antioxidant and preservative.
potassium bromate, which is banned in Europe. So
it's not, it doesn't cause cancer.
Sourdough bread is better than regular bread. This is an artisanal sourdough here in Costa Rica at a farmer's market. It only has 3 ingredients. It has water, flour, and salt. It's fermented, which is going to decrease the phytic acid. That's a compound that prevents you from absorbing minerals.
You know what also breaks down phytic acid? Cooking. You have to bake the bread. So what the fuck does it matter if it's fermented?
It doesn't completely eliminate it, but it decreases phytic acid. It also decreases the gluten, but there's still gluten in this bread.
It does not decrease the gluten.
I don't eat bread, but sourdough bread is a better option than regular bread. Fewer ingredients, actually fermented for real. The actual process of fermentation of sourdough involves mixing the flour with a sourdough starter and letting it rise for hours or days.
Sourdough tastes like shit.
This is the way bread is supposed to be made. Bread used to be made this way. In the 1940s or 1950s,
I don't know what he means by bread used to be made this way. It's just a different way of leavening bread.
a quick yeast was invented that makes bread without having to ferment it. All bread used to be sourdough, and
That's not true.
now, basically today, we have mostly garbage bread. So if you want bread, this is a much better option.
What a fucking idiot. Thanks for the donation, Paul Gayfano. Sourdough is the worst bread, tastes like shit. Yeah. It's awful. It's also like more chewy and it doesn't have as good of a texture.
between sets on the bench press. So most online calculators suggest that the number of reps you can perform in an all-out set of any exercise done at 85% of 1 rep max is about 5 to 6. Hilariously, 2 of the 3 references in the calculator that Jeff Nippard provides in his book on pages 64 to 65 suggest that 5 reps is the absolute maximum number of reps you can perform at 85% of 1 rep max, with the 3rd reference on the table suggesting that you can perform 6 reps at 85% of 1 rep max. Even Dr. Pak Androulakis Korakakis, whom Jeff has interviewed, has a chart that you can download from his website which suggests that you can only do 5 to 6 reps at 85% of 1 rep max. In most powerlifting programs, the very maximum number of reps you'll see prescribed at 85% of 1 rep max is 5, which leaves at most 1 rep in reserve. But it doesn't stop there. See, Jeff doesn't want you to do just one top set of 6 at 85% of your 1 rep max. No, Jeff wants you to do 3 more sets the exact same way, with 3 to 5 minute rest intervals. Jeff's program asks you to train to or even beyond failure with 0 performance loss across 4 sets. I really have no words for how incredibly poorly this workout is designed. I mean, it is quite literally impossible by design, whether Jeff intended it to be or not. I mentioned Pak Androulakis Korakakis in my critique of Jeff Nippard's bench press specialization program. A quick note is now necessary for him. His recent reference to executing Order 66 on me is a staggering lapse in professional judgment.
They call us influencers, but where were they when we were Order 66ing Rich Piana's ex-wife in the comments back in the good day when he got slapped by Rich Piana? RIP Rich Piana. Shout out Jason Genova. To invoke a meme synonymous with the cruel, coordinated cyberbullying of a famously vulnerable individual who no longer wants to be in the public eye is not some clever inside joke. It's a standard of discourse we expect from anonymous trolls, not scholars with PhDs, even ones from such low-ranking schools.
Short is like a melody in my head that I can't keep out, got me singing like na 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 every day. It's like my iPod stuck on replay AAA. Short is like a melody in my head that I can't keep out, got me singing like na 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 every day.
That's good. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
As PAX Solent University, which ranked 124th out of 129 institutions in the REF 2021. Such a reference is surely unbecoming of a man with PAX credentials, and if anything, it's backfired. Rather than landing some kind of witty blow, it's only served to tarnish his own credibility and expose a mean-spiritedness that undermines his authority. If you're going to gain a PhD, of whatever standard, then at least do the qualification the honour of behaving like a decent person. My advice to PAC: be careful. You lacked prudence, and your intervention was childish and undignified. I nevertheless look forward to your next appearance on Jeff Nippard's channel. Let's see if you can say something worthwhile on it. There are lots of bad training programs out there. So why single out Jeff? I gave 3 reasons in my video. 1, he should be held to a higher standard. Because he's brainy and informed, I think many people would pretty much believe anything that he says. And so we should hold Jeff to a higher standard than other people in the fitness industry. 2, his failures cause self-blame. When the program fails you, you're not going to blame the program or its author for failing you, but rather, you're going to blame yourself. You're going to think, maybe I'm not cut out for this strength training thing. And 3, his failures damage evidence-based training. In short, the fact that it's Jeff who's written a bad program and not Joe Sixpack magnifies the damage. It'll decrease people's faith in evidence-based training. As a fledgling fitness content creator, with absolutely zero understanding of the dark magic that is turning my arguments into views, I assumed that my critique of Jeff's program would get no traction and quickly be forgotten, which it basically did. And had it not been for Jeff's recent provocations, things probably would have stayed that way. But to my amazement, within a day or two of posting my critique of his program, I got a reply from Jeff Nippard himself in the comment section. On screen is my comment exchange with Jeff about his bench press specialization program. Jeff publicly conceded that the program was flawed and in need of an update. Jeff attempted to downplay the severity of the issue. He described the percentages as merely a bit too high and suggested that the impossible workout wasn't a huge deal. I dismantled Jeff's defense. I clarified.
It's a little weird to me that he would recommend sets of 5 with 85%. I usually tell people to do sets of 5 with 80. That's more something you'd prescribe to a female lifter.
Clarified that the problem wasn't minor, but rather a fundamentally impossible workout, 4 sets of 6 at 85% of 1 rep max, prescribed for his target audience. I exposed the flaws in his reasoning by pointing out that his suggestion to adhere to RPE guidelines was irrelevant, as no such guidelines were provided for the workout in question, only the impossible percentages were. I also challenged his contradictory claim that most people running this program are not advanced enough for it to be impossible. reminding him that the program was explicitly advertised and sold to intermediate and advanced trainees. However, I was so starstruck that the great Jeff Nippard decided to grace my small channel that I decided to send him an email offering to review his other programs privately and free of charge, because I genuinely wanted to help him put out better, more scientifically accurate information.
Yeah, that's like, especially if it's for intermediate to advanced lifters, that's very strange that he'd recommend that percentage and rep range.
However, after a few months of waiting for a reply that never came, I decided I'd keep reviewing his bad programs publicly, since I figured if I can't help his huge audience behind the scenes, then I may as well caution it in public. The second of Jeff's bad training programs that I critiqued publicly was his so-called women's specialization program, whatever that means. I released my critique on the 27th of May 2024. I argued that the program contains 5 major flaws. 1. Inbuilt junk volume. So if you've got room to progress in weight or reps, and yet you're always lifting the exact same weights for the exact same reps, then by definition, you'll eventually be doing junk volume. In Jeff's own words, this may have you struggling to get beyond the intermediate stage.
If this type of volume dominates your routine, you might have a hard time getting past the beginner to early intermediate stage.
2. Excessive volume. The answer is 54. No well-conducted study hitherto has demonstrated statistically significant benefits in going that high. 3. Excessive frequency. Jeff and Stephanie's program doesn't do high frequency right, because it just doesn't correctly reconcile volume, intensity, and frequency. This is just an injury waiting to happen. 4. Excessively high rep sets. Why would you do a set of 30 to failure when instead you could do a set of 8 to failure? Because even if the resulting muscle growth is the same, with a set of 30 to failure, you have to go through something like 26 exhausting reps before you get to the truly growth stimulating ones. Whereas with a set of 8 to failure, you only have to go through like 4. And 5, a lack of scientific backing. Stephanie claims on her website that the women's specialization is backed by science. This claim is false. How Jeff and Stephanie got from greater than or equal to 10 weekly sets for optimal growth to their prescription of 54 weekly sets for the glutes is simply beyond me. I found out that Jeff and Stephanie are time travelers, accessing Brett's 2014 article a full 4 years before it was published. As with my critique of Jeff Nippard's
Dodo Donatillers, where are all the pro-Palestine people who are saying ceasefire now? Where are they celebrating the ceasefire agreement? Not a word from Code Pink or anyone. Well, they don't want a ceasefire. They want this war to continue so more Jews can die. Yeah, and these aren't, like, they're doing this on October 7th because they're celebrating the October 7th massacre. These are just horrible, stupid people. C? Question mark? Well, yeah, no shit. Like, they also have personal motivations, too, because they're making money from this. They're getting paid by foreign governments to do this bullshit. So, if Israel ever obtains peace with, Gaza and, the war ends and shit, they're not going to make any money anymore. So they're personally motivated, if not ideologically motivated, to have this conflict go on. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
What kind of vinegar is best for dipping the penis in? Lately the white wine vinegar burns and makes me too horny. When I get horny the peanut butter tastes like brown poop and cum. I can't come unless my butt rubs on your balls. Please help, I need you.
Maybe you can try malt vinegar with a 2.5% dilution. Thanks for the donation. Questions about penises?
Bench press specialization program. Within a day or two of posting my critique, Jeff Nippard left another comment. A much longer comment this time around. In Jeff's comment, he expressed significant respect for my feedback, crediting my first video critique directly for prompting a much-needed and a lot better update to his bench press specialization program. Jeff then conceded that the women's specialization program is also deeply flawed and requires a complete overhaul, agreeing that the volume is too high, the frequency is too high. Jeff attributed these significant design errors to the program being very old, and to a period where he was, in his own words, massively overestimating how advanced his audience was. Jeff explained that at the time, his programming decisions were largely in line with the prevailing high-volume trend promoted by many science guys. Jeff noted that during this period, he was interviewing figures like my friend
Matthew donated $2.15. VG, would you ever try for another bench PR? If so, what adjustments would you make to training, diet, and your steroid cycle? Well, I'm just going to be making PRs because I'm on steroids. There's not really any adjustments that I have to make. I'm on gear, so... Like, I'm already making all-time rep PRs on the incline press. And pretty soon, over the next few months, I'll be making all-time rep PRs on the flat bench. Like, there's no adjustments that need to be made. I'm on fucking gear. I don't know if I'm gonna push for, like, you know, a 1-rep max, just because of safety concerns. But like, long-term-ish goal is gonna be to rep 405 for, like, you know, 8 to 10. That might take a little while, but you know, the course I'm on right now is just take the right amount of steroids to avoid side effects, but, you know, make progress. Stay on that dose and, like, you know, just train and eat properly, and then when I stop making progress, then up the dose of steroids again. Like, that's really it. Thanks for the donation, though, Matthew. Dodo donate $2. Can you explain to me why the U.S. government allows Chinese spies in our Congress buildings to lobby Congress people? Can you imagine a USA lobbying group in the CCP building yelling at their lawmakers? How the fuck is this?
Removed immediately. We will stop nothing. You will stop your disruption, and you will not be seen by this committee again.
Yeah, they should be locked in jail. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Just when you thought Greta could not stoop any lower.
Thunberg shares image of emaciated Israeli hostage in post-protesting treatment of Palestinian prisoners. Was she so stupid that she thought this was a Palestinian prisoner? Yeah, it sounds like she's that stupid that she thought this was a Palestinian prisoner. Yeah. We have a society that's just full of chimps. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Sir William Squire Von Vegan donated $2.
Tämä päihde, joka on vanha päihde, jota on nyt Suomesta hävittää jo aikaa, joka on lakikin meinattu. Oi mikä oi. Katsokaa, nämä aromat. Nyt ymmärrätte, miksi lakupiippu.
Okay, I think that's a retard. Thanks for the donation, dude.
Lyle McDonald. He highlighted that, interestingly, Lyle's perspective was one of the few cutting against high-volume training at this time, a view that contrasts with the flawed approach he chose to follow for the program. While briefly attempting to justify the extreme volumes by referencing a recent study and his own positive customer anecdotes, he ultimately reiterated his agreement with my assessment that it is too much. Jeff also asserted that he didn't plagiarize Lyle McDonald, explaining that, as a long-time fan of Lyle's work, and someone who was also working for him on an affiliate basis, any similarities are coincidental. As well as leaving a comment, Jeff sent me an email expressing interest in the thought of me reviewing his training programs in my capacity as an expert consultant. Throughout my interactions with Jeff Nippard over the course of my 2 paid consulting engagements with him, I've respected the confidentiality of our private correspondences, and I'll continue to do so by not sharing direct quotes, specific financial details, or proprietary project information. Following my critique, Jeff Nippard initiated contact to engage my consulting services. We began with a preliminary 1-hour review of an old program. The feedback I provided was received very positively, and he described my work as being exceptionally thorough. Based on the quality of that initial review, Jeff immediately proposed a significantly larger and more complex project with a much broader scope. We then engaged in a standard professional negotiation regarding the terms, timeline, and remuneration for this larger body of work. Ultimately, we reached a mutually agreeable arrangement, and I proceeded to complete the project as specified. Several months later, I was approached by Jeff Nippard's team for a second, time-sensitive consulting project. I prioritized the work to meet their tight deadline and delivered my analysis promptly. Once again, the feedback on my contribution was explicitly positive and highly appreciative. In both instances, I was contracted for my expertise, delivered high-quality work on schedule, and received positive feedback from Jeff Nippard himself. Our relationship was that of a professional consultant and a satisfied client. Remember that comment Jeff left on my critique of his women's specialization program? One day I checked the comments section and noticed that it was gone. On the 9th of April 2025, shortly after noticing, I decided to initiate an email exchange with Jeff by politely inquiring about how the comment, which I characterized as thoughtful and conciliatory, had disappeared. I asked if Jeff had, by any chance, deleted it. In his response, which came a mere day later, Jeff denied removing the comment, stating, "I definitely didn't delete it." He then speculated that YouTube itself might have been responsible, suggesting that it could have been flagged or might still be visible in my channel's back-end administrative view. I promptly replied, graciously accepting Jeff's explanation at face value, with, "No worries at all, I believe you." I remarked on how strange it was that the platform would remove what had been such a nice and constructive comment. Jeff didn't reply, and so that closed the otherwise brief and positive interaction. When Jeff Nippard's thoughtful and conciliatory comment on my critique video vanished, it naturally raised some questions. How often does a perfectly constructive comment from a major creator simply disappear from YouTube? The incident prompted a more significant line of thought. Did Jeff Nippard lie? And if Jeff Nippard lied about something so minor, then what else might he have lied about? And despite these suspicions, I chose to reserve judgment at the time, and outwardly gave him the benefit of the doubt in our exchange. Still, the matter was significant. His comment was the only public paper trail connecting us in a constructive professional capacity, and its disappearance effectively erased the only visible record of that dialogue from the platform. However, I am meticulous with my records. I checked my archives and found that I had taken screenshots of his comment on the evening of the 27th of May 2024 at 10:49 p.m. To preserve this record on the platform itself, after university one day, I recorded a short, unlisted video clearly displaying his comment, pinned it to my original review of his women's specialization program, and then moved on with my life. This was, for all intents and purposes, a closed chapter. Until, that is, the strangely dramatic developments that have unfolded recently. Jeff Nippard made 2 public responses to my critique of Mike Israetel's PhD thesis, and he also reached out via email and Instagram direct messages. In this chapter, I'll provide an overview of Jeff's interventions. Jeff left 2 comments on Mike's Instagram page. The first, dated 4th of October 2025, read, "Bro was out here adding semicolons to Mike's rough draft from 13 years ago, thinking he did something." The comment was liked by Mike Israetel. Jeff then left this comment on a later post by Mike Israetel. "Solomon trying to play off his Reddit-brained, parasocial, anti-fan hit piece as a good faith attempt to help fix the way administrators archive their papers is pretty funny."
Geez, knowing the relationship they had beforehand, that is a really sleazy, two-faced, passive-aggressive way to fucking, like, react to this.
Jeff has since deleted both comments.
Is tadalafil good pre-workout?
Well, tadalafil has an extremely long half-life. You'll notice its effects for about 48 hours, so it's not really a pre-workout. If you want something for pre-workout, you'd want sildenafil. It's sildenafil, right? So the brand name's Viagra. Viagra has a very short half-life. It only lasts for a few hours. So, and it kicks in very quickly. Tadalafil, you'll notice it takes about 2 to 3 days to feel the full effect. So tadalafil will, if you take it every day, you'll probably notice, like, you know, better pumps in the gym. Personally, I only really notice it in my triceps. But a lot of people do say they notice better pumps. It does, you know, improve blood flow and it lowers blood pressure. But it doesn't really make sense to use it pre-workout because it's not really a pre-workout thing. It takes about 2 to 3 days for you to notice its full effects, and you have to keep taking it. And again, extremely long half-life, so it doesn't really matter when you take it, pre or post-workout. It just keeps working. So if you want something that's a vasodilator, for pre-workout, you'd want sildenafil, like Viagra. Thanks for the donation, though. Apple is fucking awful.
Ouch, it won't reach my mouth. If I could do it myself, I'd probably never leave the house, but I can't, so here's where you come in, giving it different strokes just like Arnold Drummond, humming hum hum good like Campbell's, and you'll handle the sack.
Okay, very good. Thanks for the donation, Yummy Down, on this.
And Greta claims to be a highly intelligent woman.
Yeah, she's literally retarded. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Do you get caffeine headaches the day after drinking energy drinks? No, never had that.
Shortly after leaving his semicolons comment, Jeff Nippard contacted me to request the removal of a line in my channel description that he felt implied a current client relationship. I responded by offering to amend the line to reflect accurately that Jeff is a past client. Jeff declined this offer and asked that his name be removed entirely. He explained his reasoning by first characterizing our professional history as limited to editing work on a single, unreleased program over a year ago. He also expressed a view that he doesn't align with the content style of my channel. Noticing that his emails were sent from an unfamiliar address, I paused the discussion to request identity verification before proceeding. After confirming his identity via Instagram direct messages, Jeff reiterated his request for his name to be removed entirely. He stated that he can't remember if he ever gave permission for his likeness to be used for promotion. He followed this with a long, unsolicited message detailing his personal grievances with my other industry associates and once again criticizing my recent content, before asking for the communication to be kept private. I didn't engage with the personal grievances outlined in Jeff's direct messages, and instead merely informed Jeff via email that I had updated my channel's description accurately and factually to state, in fact, Jeff Nippard is a past client of mine. Let us now critically analyze Jeff's interventions in support of Saint Mike, as well as his recent personal exchanges with me. Bro was out here adding semicolons to Mike's rough draft from 13 years ago, thinking he did something. Jeff, was that all I did in the video? Did you mean that adding semicolons was the full extent of my critique? It's true that I observed irregularities with semicolons and other conventions. But for scientist Jeff to mention them alone, while neglecting the careful argument about the dissertation's content, was a tendentious half-truth. Jeff drew...
Was talking to my dad about you, said he's seen you before at a Toronto expo, said you're very tall. Yeah, I'm 6'3", so I'm taller than most people. Oh man. I am... a little sore from today's workout.
Drew attention to the technical punctuation stuff and ignored the rest, which is most of the video. That's called straw manning. And then when he talks about adding semicolons to Mike's rough draft from 13 years ago.
Alright nigga. I started to read Berserk. I'm gonna get about 100 chapters in afterwards. I'll tell you what I think. If I do that, then will you at least try Bleach, bitch ass nigga?
No, Bleach sucks. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo.
Scientist Jeff presumably thinks that he's doing a line in witty caricature. Very funny, Jeff, because it's as if I should have known.
Met another vegan, became friends with them, later find out they're pro-Palestine. Should I talk to them about it in case they're misinformed, or should I just cut ties with them? Well, the reason they're pro-Palestine in the first place is because they're stupid and they have anti-Semitic beliefs, so I just cut ties with them.
Known that the thesis published to the learned community on East Tennessee State University's official website was just a rough draft, which we now know it wasn't. There I was, adding semicolons to a rough draft. What a fool am I? Surely the supposition, as Mike himself admitted, was reasonable.
I don't blame him for going hard on it, because he has every reasonable idea to think this was the final draft.
The text uploaded by the university and downloaded in good faith by scholars is the final version, with sign-off by the supervisor or associate dean. Who was to know that the candidate and the university was so incompetent that they couldn't upload the correct version? And how come Jeff represented me as the fool when the mistake was Mike's? Anyway, how the hell did scientist Jeff know that the originally uploaded text of Mike's thesis was just a rough draft? He hadn't seen the verified date-stamped metadata confirming the claim that in 2013 a clean version of the thesis went to examination. No one had seen proof that such a virgin draft existed, because it was a lie. It was obvious to Coach Greg, who said that the story about the draft sounded mighty improbable, and for all we know could even be a cover-up, which it proved to be. Mike's whoopsie, wrong version story was simply something that uncritical Jeff wanted to believe, rather than something that he knew. Scientists don't make that kind of leap. They remain agnostic until persuaded by firm evidence, not by personal allegiance or convenience. And finally, adding semicolons to Mike's rough draft from 13 years ago. From 13 years ago is supposed to suggest that something from 13 years ago is too old to be dredged up. And by the way, he got his dates wrong. It was 12 years ago, Jeff. It's water under the bridge. Something as trivial as semicolons in the right place. Yeah? Really? The whole premise of the video was to find out what was in Mike's PhD. What does it say? How much authority does it confer? It is immaterial if the date of that PhD was this decade, the one before, or the one before that. It makes no difference at all. Scientist Jeff imagined that he could make fun of a critic thinking he did something by digging up an antique and pointing out minor errors, as if the undertaking is just frivolous. Well, the frivolity falls back on Jeff. His peremptory intervention was hollow, shallow, without substance, and foolish. He thought that he could dismiss criticism for reasons that don't stand up. He scoffed at something that he either didn't understand or misrepresented. Throughout all of this, Jeff the scientist had become emotionally involved. His interventions on social media seem uncharacteristically unhinged, as if some inner fury had finally got to him. Solomon trying to play off his...
Thoughts on Sean Nailuangi?
He has a good fitness channel. Don't have any problems with him other than he's not vegan. But, yeah, he is one of the better fitness content creators. Thanks for the donation. Apple is fucking,
Reddit-brained, parasocial, anti-fan hit piece as a good faith attempt to help fix the way administrators archive their papers is pretty funny. What an extraordinarily incoherent broadside. What did he mean by Reddit-brained, parasocial, anti-fan hit piece? I understand Reddit-brained. I suppose he means pedantic, or some kind of pompous gripe. And I understand hit piece. But what is parasocial anti-fan supposed to mean? Jeff seems to be seething over something that he thinks is psychopathic. He feels under pressure to make my
Greta
video
comes
seem
to your porch looking like a snack with her chest stacked to the sky. She's rambling on about boats and water and environmental stuff, but she doesn't know she should just ask you for directions to the nearest Tim Hortons. What say ye, Richard?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the donation, dude.
extra mean and deranged. Only he doesn't quite know what he wants to say, and so his words don't make sense. Presumably, Jeff had gone back to my video and seen the disclaimer that I added, acknowledging Mike's assurance that the version of his dissertation that I reviewed was merely a rough draft, uploaded to the university's official repository by mistake. In that announcement, I suggested that the new information raises a different but equally perplexing set of questions about institutional quality control. If this was indeed a draft, then how was it possible for it to be officially archived and presented to the learned public as a final approved PhD thesis? So it seems that what Jeff was saying in his unintelligible terminology is that I really just want to create mischief as a destructive, maladjusted freak. So apparently, I've artificially changed the purpose of my video. I'm now pretending that it was about academic filing protocols instead of Mike. But if that's what scientist Jeff meant to imply, then he's certainly not a reliable historian. The concern for the systems that are meant to uphold academic standards was consistent throughout my video. It hasn't been tacked on subsequently to represent the video as something that it isn't. That element about quality control was always there. Go back and watch it, Jeff, if you ever did the first time. But for me, the additional information claiming that the uploaded text was only a rough draft had to be handled sensitively. Otherwise, if it were really true that they'd uploaded a rough draft in error, then the supervisor doesn't deserve all of the blame for a rotten thesis, but only for failing to ensure that the correct draft got uploaded. Hence my statement, whether the failure occurred at the examination stage or at the administrative/archival sign-off, the critique of that system remains. If anything, it's the reverse of what Jeff implies. In my video, I cast doubt on the system that had failed from beginning to end. For scientist Jeff, however, I'd become weaselly. I was now trying to play off my video as a good faith attempt to help fix the way administrators archive their papers. And for scientist Jeff, this imputed change of direction is pretty funny. Well, now I'm finding Jeff pretty funny. What has happened to the mild man of fitness, the docile dude, championing rationality and good empirical method? Something in the air over Mike Israetel seems to have got to him. His impassiveness has broken in the fallout. He's lost his composure. His interventions are gratuitous and garbled. He didn't have to become involved. This was never about him. So why did he feel this sudden zeal to write nasty, polemical distortions? Is he panicking over some kind of fear or resentment? Or just missing the attention?
Apparently they're business partners, so that would explain that.
In our correspondence, Jeff's assertion that I reviewed only one program is a significant mischaracterization of our professional history. I was engaged on 2 separate occasions for paid consulting work. The first project involved a smaller review that was so well received that it led immediately to a much larger engagement involving the detailed analysis of multiple programs for a significant commercial publication. The second project alone was also much larger than a single program review. In both instances, the feedback on my contributions was explicitly positive, and the quality of my work is evidenced by the fact that I was hired a second time. The question I'm wondering is, did Jeff forget? Did he lie? Or is this just what he chooses to believe? And if Jeff lied, then once again I ask, what else might he lie about? Food for thought. Jeff says that he doesn't align with the drama and gossip I do, and yet he's the one who created it in this instance. If he didn't write those offensive, pot-stirring comments about me, then I wouldn't be making this video. You can't be a sneering provocateur and a saint at the same time. I'm wondering now, which Jeff would like to be behind his slick mask? Would the real Jeff please stand up? In another unsolicited, caustic DM, Jeff told me that he considers that the expose on Mike's PhD was petty. How did he come to that conclusion? If I single-handedly discover that a doctoral thesis is vacuous and that it passed through a system that prides itself on rigor, then how can that be considered petty? For Jeff, it's petty because in Jeff's kingdom of backscratchers, we must support a dismal understanding that we're all constitutionally mediocre. In the fitness industry, we have to accept that academic standards of originality and rigor don't apply. And it's therefore petty to critique a heap of worthless verbiage like Mike Israetel's doctoral thesis. If a doctoral thesis was so empty in any other field, then a searching critique of it would not be called petty, but alarming. Notwithstanding Jeff's flexible standard of what is fair criticism and what's petty, he waxes sanctimonious in the very next sentence of his direct message. As far as I know, fair journalistic standards are to at least reach out to the party before publishing. First, I'm not a journalist. And second, Jeff's standard of ethics here is unreasonable. Do you think that a critic about to write a review of an essay published on the internet by an authoritative source first has to reach out to the author to ask, is that your final version or just a draft? What exorbitant labors does...
What type of oil do you like using best for sautéing tofu?
Avocado oil. I think that's the best one. Has a high smoking point, high polyphenol content, low in saturated fat. So, avocado oil. Thanks for the donation, though, Blackberry.
Does Jeff want to commit us to every time we read something, if we have to establish that it's really the version that the author meant to put out? And then he goes on. So while the draft versus final copy error is understandable, it also could have been avoided. Well, first, how did he know that the error could have been avoided? And second, sorry, but whose error are we talking about? Mine? I didn't make an error. Mike Israetel's, East Tennessee's. Scientist Jeff had no idea, but just made the assumption that someone in the room is being malicious, and so everything from that moment on can be dismissed as petty, if not unethical as well. Now that the truth has emerged, I wonder if Scientist Jeff is feeling ashamed of himself for his part in bringing the standards down to an even lower level. Or perhaps he just feels angry with himself that he miscalculated on a strategic basis. For some reason, I can't see where his conscience might play a part. Well, talking about...
Kid Boo donated $2. Let me see.
Being happy? Why do you say that?
Because women with curly hair buy a straighter. Women with straight hair buy a curler. Women with dark hair dye it blonde. Women with blonde hair dye it dark. Women with big boobs, they get breast reduction. Women with small boobs, they get implants. I mean, you can't make that species happy.
Yeah, he's got a point. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo.
Ethics. Jeff finished the DM by asking for it all to be kept private. So why would you send unsolicited, caustic DMs and then try to manipulate the recipient into secrecy? Here's a slap in the face, but don't tell anyone. What's this screwball game that Jeff is playing? If he wanted to keep his thoughts to himself, then why did he go out of his way to confront me with all this antagonism? Is it just that Jeff couldn't resist the opportunity for a power play? Or is it something deeper in his psychology that's suddenly become reactive and agitated? I get the feeling that Jeff was eyeballing the denunciation of Mike's thesis with a
People who do this shit are, like, such fucking idiots. This reminds me of, like, people who will, like, send nude photos to people, and then when it gets leaked on the internet, they're like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened. It's like, if you don't want something to be shared publicly, like, then don't share it with anybody. Like, you're not entitled to somebody not sharing, like, personal messages. So if you don't want it to be shared, then don't say it. Like, it's just such a... Like, the entitlement and, like, childishness of this is just so fucking stupid.
feeling of personal dread. Before it was revealed that Mike's clean draft was fraudulent, Jeff seemed to identify with Mike's predicament and protested too much. Perhaps he was wondering, how much longer can I go on without being talked about as a talent-free zone, trafficking platitudes that artfully conceal a gaping emptiness, a void papered over with slick photography and suave production values? Ah, Jeff, you're getting anxious, I can see. And now that you've been caught supporting a denialist fraud, your anxiety must be aggravated manyfold. When the second revelation was made that I had, in fact, reviewed the one and only relevant version of the PhD that was examined and passed, scientist Jeff did his own bit of shabby cleaning up. He dirty deleted his 2 public posts that sought to make fun of me for my Israetel critique. He now has to reckon with the reality that I was right and he was wrong. Quick, let's hide the evidence. And it's not just a matter of Jeff having been impercipient or dull. Rather, it's that he behaved unscientifically and chose to believe what turned out to be a fib. He was swayed by emotional bias instead of the evidence. Ah, scientist Jeff, you must have felt so smug, thinking that you could throw me under the bus, and now you're left picking up your own broken image that the same bus has just rolled over. I believed I had a gentleman's agreement with Jeff. I was friendly and helpful to him, and he was recognizing and grateful in return. It seems I was let down. Personal insecurity must have got the better of him. It looks as if Jeff has become sensitive to the very concept of critical method in any scientific matter. He therefore desperately wanted to distance himself from me and my channel. With the supposedly wrong version fraud of Mike's thesis, he thought he could pounce. I want nothing further to do with this gossip-mongering element. Please erase the evidence of every connection that I ever had with it. But when the purported gossip turns out to have been true, indeed, a legitimate and scientifically justified argument, scientist Jeff will find it hard to avoid sharing the disgrace of the cover-up. Returning to Jeff Nippard's earlier request, I was happy to remove the line in my channel description, which Jeff claims implies that he's a current client of mine. I replaced it with one that clearly states that Jeff Nippard is a past, not current client. And in case anyone is under the misapprehension that Jeff Nippard is my current and not past client, then the word should be spread to the furthest corners of the internet by my decree. At the behest of Jeff Nippard, let it be known to all, he is a client of the past, not the present. The sacred tablets have been amended. Henceforth, any who utter the contrary falsehood shall be met with swift correction. So it is decreed. We arrive at the end, yet we return to the central puzzle I posed at the beginning. Why? Why would Jeff Nippard, a former client who repeatedly praised and paid for my expertise, launch such a bizarre, unprofessional, misguided, and intellectually bankrupt attack over a critique that was never about him? The man who has meticulously crafted a brand on scientific objectivity and calm rationality has, in this affair, acted as an incurious, prejudiced troll. As we've seen, his response was not one of reasoned disagreement. It was a series of shallow, straw-manning insults on social media, a blatant mischaracterization of our constructive, professional interactions, and a string of aggressive, hypocritical private messages in which he decried the very drama he was single-handedly creating. This is not the behavior of a scientist engaging with a critique. It is the emotional reaction of an insecure insider lashing out, seemingly panicked by the prospect of genuine scrutiny and accountability entering his complacent domain. And this, ultimately, is the broader implication of the entire saga. It's an indictment of the evidence-based community, which for many is popularly spearheaded by scientist Jeff, when faced with a credible critique of an academic scandal involving one of its central figures, Dr. Mike. The response from Jeff's quarter was not soberly to embrace academic integrity, but to close ranks in denial for the sake of tribalistic solidarity. It demonstrates that for many in this space, science is little more than a brand identity, a pretentious tinny shield to hide behind, but one that's quickly discarded in favor of personal allegiances and playground insults when the flimsy foil is justly rattled. My critiques, whether of a flawed program or a questionable PhD, are born from a simple principle. The standards we claim to uphold must actually mean something. Jeff's actions suggest that for him, they don't. While I've now amended the record on my professional relationship with him, as per his petty and revealing request, the more important record, the one showing a leader whose principles collapsed in an uncritical support of a compromised scientific process, now stands corrected for all to see.
Yeah, that's pretty slimy of Jeff. I'm honestly not terribly surprised about that behavior. He comes off as the kind of person who'd act that way.
Class is about to start for these 40 school kids. Like every week, the teacher starts searching everyone's pockets. This time, he finds something on a little girl. 5 kernels of grain. The teacher snaps and commands the girl to come up front. She has to kneel down on the hard concrete floor. With a wooden stick, he strikes her on the head. Again, and again, and again, and again. Her classmates watch in silence. The beating goes on until the little girl collapses. Afterwards, her classmates carry her home. The same night, she dies. The little girl and the other 39 children are all inmates in one of North Korea's deadliest prison camps, Camp 14.
Comparisons have been drawn to the Nazi death camps, to the Soviet Gulag. You know, they're accurate, and in their own way, they're different.
A lawless detention facility hidden in the mountains of Kaeshan, a place where people are imprisoned for the crimes of their parents. Once you end up here, you will most likely die here.
This is truly a space that is outside humanity, let me say that.
Prisoners are forced to work under inhumane conditions. The smallest mistake can cost them their lives. Escape is almost impossible. Only a handful make it out, risking everything on deadly routes. In North Korea, there are several of these death camps, and the regime has kept them a secret for decades. But through the relentless work of human rights organizations, satellite imagery, and reports from survivors, we can have a glimpse at these facilities. Why are people being sent to Camp 14? What does daily life look like inside its walls? What horrors do the inmates face? And how do people actually get out? This is the story of the most horrific prison camp in North Korea. This story is based on Escape from Camp 14 by Blaine Harden. One former prisoner of Camp 14 later changed parts of his story. Every time you see this symbol, it marks those revisions. If you want to know more about the exact changes and the reasons behind them, we recommend reading this article. Since North Korea denies the existence of these camps, independent verification is not.
Dodo Donatillers, it's too fast VG, I can't hear. Also, North Korea is basically like a Nazi concentration camp, but less genocidal. It's not too fast. It's the speed's fine. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. There's probably 2 main reasons why these people change their stories. One, they make money by sharing this. It's kind of like juicy news, so every time they talk to a journalist, they get paid for this stuff. So, some of it is likely made up or embellished in some way, just so that each time they talk to a journalist, you know, they have something new to share so they can make money. And 2, I'm sure they've been through, like, they have PTSD and fucked up shit, and they're not necessarily the most reliable narrators. John donated $2. Let me see. Oh.
Oh.
Oh, no. Oh. People who make their pets fat are fucking degenerate idiots. Like, this is fucking animal abuse. Yeah, what the fuck? Like, some of these cats are just so fucking overweight. It's retarded. Like, and, I mean, Gummy is a fucking hungry son of a bitch. Like, he bothers me for food all the fucking time, and I don't overfeed him. Because I'm not a fucking dumbass. Yeah, like, that's just fucking animal abuse. These people should be fucking locked up. Thanks for the donation, John. I know this is late news, but what's your general take on how Hassan treats his dogs? What the fuck do you think, dumbass? When's Ask Yourself gonna move in at the end of this month?
Not possible. Shin Dong-hyuk is just a young boy when he witnesses the little girl being punished for having food in her pocket. Shin has no doubt she deserved it. After all, she stole food, and in Camp 14, stealing means death. He doesn't question it. He knows nothing else. The camp rules are his reality. Shin was born in Camp 14, but his parents didn't fall in love. They were assigned to each other by prison guards. Intimacy between men and women is strictly forbidden. If a woman becomes pregnant without permission, both she and the baby are shot. In Camp 14, there's only one way to have a child: promotion. Those who work hard, and more importantly, snitch on others, may be granted a reward marriage. This is how Shin Dong-hyuk and his older brother Shin Hee-gyun come into the world. But they don't grow up as a real family. Their mother never talks about the past. Shin has no clue why his parents were imprisoned, and it probably wouldn't matter anyway.
It's all about suspicion. You know, you don't have to be an anti-regime character. But if you're suspected of being anti-regime, of being a wrongdoer, a wrong thinker, of having engaged in wrong associations, they will send you to the camp.
This is Greg Scarlatoiu. He's president and CEO of HR&K, the Washington-based Committee on Human Rights in North Korea. For years, Greg and his team have been investigating human rights abuses at these camps. Like many others, Shin will most likely stay in Camp 14 for the rest of his life, even though he never committed a crime. This is the house Shin and his mother live in. Along with his mother's promotion came slightly better housing. They share it with 3 other families and sleep on the floor. There's a single light bulb in the kitchen. Electricity works for just 2 hours a day. There's no running water, no furniture, no shower, and barely enough food to survive. The building is part of a model village, one of many. Camp 14 is estimated to cover around 153 square kilometers, almost 3 times the size of Manhattan. It is secured by a 60-kilometer fence, patrol paths, barracks, guard posts, and checkpoints. The whole area stretches from river valleys to mountain peaks. The wilderness and the Taedong River act as a natural barrier, an immense obstacle course separating the facility from the outside world. Little villages are scattered across the vast area, containing housing and working units.
These are sprawling facilities. They're very large facilities. So at some of these facilities, you see farming, agriculture going on. You see some of these facilities that are adjacent to coal mines or other types of mineral exploitation.
Researching and animating topics like these take a lot of time. We worked for months on just this video with the help of more than a dozen people. And this wouldn't be possible without our sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant is an interactive learning app, and the best way to become smarter, quicker. They provide thousands of lessons in math. SAMP has its own railroad network and generates its own electricity. And it also has a school. This is where Shin goes every day. His teacher wears a guard's uniform, carries a weapon, and teaches obedience above all else. Camp rules are brutal. There are 10 of them. Even the smallest violation can lead to execution. Shin memorizes them all. Rule 1. Any witness to an attempted escape who fails to report it will be shot immediately. Rule 3. Anyone who steals or conceals any foodstuffs will be shot immediately. Rule 5. Anyone who holds or hides a fugitive's possessions, conspires with him, or fails to report him will be shot immediately. The guards enforce the rules without mercy.
내가 총을 꾸며서 뭐 쏘거나 해도 항상 뭐 가책을 느끼지 않았어요. 일반적으로 우리는 그때 써도 나라를 지키기 위해서 내가 한 일이기 때문에. 그 주정소에는 들어오게 되면 사람이 아니에요. 사람이 아니고 내 마음대로 해도 돼요. 그 안에 사람은 그 자리에서 죽이게 했으면 죽이고 살리게 했으면 살리고 하는 건 내 마음이에요. 뭐 설명해 주세요.
Across North Korea, there are different types of detention facilities. The worst of them are called Kwon-li-so. Camp 14 is one of them. It's also called a total control zone.
People never get out of those. You know, they just waste away. They get killed by this vicious cycle of malnutrition and forced labor.
Shin's mother has to work the rice fields.
Kiss Boo and Tiller. So parents who let their kids get fat, would you call that child abuse as well? Yes. Oh, are they making season 2? Oh, movie. Cool. Dope. That's cool. I'm looking forward to that. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo.
10 to 15 hours of hard labor every day. If she meets her quota, she receives food. Just enough to survive the night and make it through the next day.
North Korea is all about production targets. If you don't meet them, and probably you will not meet them, you'll get less food, more work, less food, more work, and that's how you waste away and die. That's, the truly tragic story at these camps.
From the moment Shin starts school, his life is split between the classroom and hard labor in the coal mine. Long workdays are made worse by constant gnawing hunger. Before school, Shin often eats his mother's portion while she's still out in the fields. She beats him for it, but he does it anyway. To him, she's not a source of love or care. She's a rival in the fight for every meager scrap of food. This is Shin's meal, served 3 times a day for his entire prison life. If he makes a mistake, his portion is cut in half as punishment. Sometimes he and the other inmates catch rats, the only source of meat in Camp 14. For Shin, this isn't as much as a nightmare. It's normal life. He has never seen the world beyond the barbed wire. Unlike this man. Kim Young is in his mid-40s when he's brought to Camp 14. He knows the world outside very well. In fact, he was a high-ranking military officer and vice president of a state-owned company.
Ben Boyd and Tiller skip to 5. Let me see.
Nigga, how you like Chainsaw Man but not Demon Slayer? Demon Slayer is objectively better, you faggot bitch ass.
You're a stupid child if you think Demon Slayer is better than Chainsaw Man. Thanks for the donation, stupid.
Right now. Okay, alright. I have more, it's more updated than this, but that's the only one I can get to right now. Oh. Alright, hey, hop out. Hop out. Don't reach for anything. I'm not reaching for nothing, man. He's got a gun!
Well, that's what the police ought to be doing more often in Canada, but we like to just let criminals do whatever the fuck they want. Thanks for the donation, Ben Boy.
In his former life, he enjoyed culture, a chauffeur, and all the benefits of being a government employee. Now he's also forced to work in the coal mines. Kim didn't break any laws to get here. His parents did. In North Korea, this form of collective punishment is called yunjoje, guilt by association. Up to 3 generations can be punished for crimes of family members. When Kim was a child, his father and brother were accused of spying for the United States, enough to execute them. After that, Kim was brought to an orphanage under a new name. It took more than 40 years until someone found out about his true heritage. Even Kim himself wasn't aware of the supposed crimes his family allegedly committed.
It's actually really impressive that the cops didn't shoot that woman who was passenger, or, well, I guess she was driving. What a scumbag. These people are just pieces of shit.
Absolutely no judicial process. This is extrajudicial punishment. They'll just, take you away in the middle of the night, together with your family members. You just disappear. That's how it goes.
대낮에 잡아가는 건 없어요. 다 밤에 그냥 원래 그냥 어느 순간에 와서 싹 다 쓸어 가고 정치범 수용소에 가서도 그 가족들은 우리가 뭘 잘못해서 왔는지 그걸 모른다는 거죠.
Fear is the most powerful tool for prison guards to keep inmates in line. During Kim's time in Camp 14, a total of 25 inmates are executed. One day, he witnesses a fellow prisoner being killed for collecting chestnuts that had fallen from a tree. Kim spends most of his days underground, hours and hours of endless work with no sunlight and no mercy. Kim struggles. He's never faced labor like this before. Mistakes are inevitable, and every one of them is met with the punishment of a guard who never leaves his side. One day, a guard strikes Kim with the butt of his gun till he falls unconscious. For the next 2 days, he only receives half his meals. After more than 2 months of living like this in Camp 14, Kim decides to end it. Following a long day of work, he steps into the elevator of a mining shaft. The metal cage ascends until it reaches a height of around 2,000 feet. He pulls the safety pin, and the elevator falls. But Kim survives, and the vicious cycle goes on. When Shin is about 6 or 7, the camp's borders shift. His village is merged into the neighboring Camp 18, just across the river. It's said to be slightly less brutal than Camp 14, but for Shin, life hardly changes at all. Shin is 15 and has moved out from his mother's home. He now lives with his father. One day, a teacher allows Shin to spend the night at his mother's house, a reward for good behavior. When he arrives, another guest awaits. It's his brother, Shin Hee-gyun. The 21-year-old works at the prison cement factory, a couple of miles away. Shin doesn't like him at all. In the middle of the night, Shin wakes up from his sleep. He hears voices from the kitchen. His brother is talking about escape. His mother seems to support him. Shin's first instinct, he has to report this. He goes to a nearby dorm room and wakes a friend to ask for advice. The friend urges Shin to tell the guards. They go to the school's night guard on duty and report the escape plot. Shin also signs a false police statement, claiming he saw his mother and brother commit murder. This piece of evidence ultimately leads to an execution order. The guards take Shin to an execution site next to the Taedong River. A crowd has gathered to watch. They drag out his mother and his brother. They're killed in front of Shin's eyes.
Jeez.
In 1996, Kim Young is transferred to Camp 18. To him, this place feels like heaven. The labor conditions are slightly better, and to his surprise, he reunites with his 70-year-old mother, who is also a prisoner here. But the violence and abuse don't stop. One day, he has to witness how guards beat up his mother and force her to do manual labor. His mother is certain they will both die in the camp. Even though it means risking his life, she urges Kim to leave her behind and escape. Escaping from a North Korean death camp is almost impossible.
You know, these are highly protected facilities. You're talking barbed wire, walls, armed guards, intersecting lines of fire. We're talking machine guns. Very, very difficult to escape. I mean, it's, difficult to escape a detention facility in any civilized country, imagine North Korea.
Kim Young quietly studies his surroundings. He observes, waits, and starts thinking. He lays out multiple escape plans, but none of them seem doable to him. Another hard day of work. The prisoners are loading coal onto a train. Suddenly, they spot something. Grain scattered across the bottom of a train car. It must have transported food before. The scene explodes into chaos. Prisoners drop everything, desperately looking for the tiniest speck of food. The guards start shouting, but no one listens. Kim discovers a narrow space beneath the metal panel in the floor of a coal wagon. He squeezes inside, and as the train rumbles out of Camp 18, he rides with it.
Oh my God.
Hours later, the train reaches Gowon Station at around 4 a.m. We don't know exactly how, but Kim manages to crawl out of his hideout and disappears into the night. Kim successfully escaped Camp 18, but his path to freedom is still very long. After finding a worker's uniform, he changes clothes and starts a treacherous journey that will take him many months through China and Mongolia to South Korea, where he'll eventually seek asylum. Escaping a prison is one thing. Escaping the country is another. We made a whole video on how to escape North Korea. Link is in the description. Shin also manages to escape from Camp 18 twice, both times by crawling under a fence. Both times he's recaptured. After his second attempt, Shin is sent back to Camp 14 and is thrown into a special detention center, a place with only one purpose: torture.
I still have the scars of my torture and the burns. Look at my arms. My arms aren't normal.
Oh my God.
They are bent and deformed. Before I was tortured, my arms were straight. When I was tortured, my arms were tied up with a rope and pulled backwards.
Holy fuck. Matthew G. Ferrito, donator, skipped 2 minutes. What is this stupid shit? Great.
That made them more and more bent. I'm filled with anger when I stand in front of the mirror and look at my body after a shower.
After 4 weeks of torture, he's thrown into a pitch-black cell. No windows and barely enough space to lie down. There, he'll spend the next 6 months. After his release, Shin is thrown back to the general prison population. He has to work in the coal mine, the farm fields, and eventually in a garment factory. This is where he meets Park Young-chul, a man unlike anyone Shin has ever seen. Born into an elite family, Park once held a prestigious job and had seen the world beyond North Korea's borders. By then, Shin already knows he's on the execution list. With Park at his side, he begins planning what will be Shin's third and final escape. Shin and Park are assigned to do some woodwork up in the mountains, along with some prisoners. They're chopping wood near the outer fence. The camp's fence is around 10 feet high and lined with high-voltage barbed wire. The next guard tower is a quarter of a mile away. Shin watches the patrols. There are long gaps between them where no guard is close enough to spot the two. The plan is simple. Wait until dusk so that their footprints can't easily be traced in the snow. They slip through the high-voltage wires without touching them. As the sun sets, Shin and Park move closer to the fence. They hack branches, pretending to stack wood. Nobody notices them. Park hesitates. Shin's heart races. He grabs Park's hand and they run. Shin slips. Park reaches the fence before him. He tries to squeeze his head between the two lowest wires and hits one of them. Park's body is not moving. The bottom wire bends under his weight, creating a narrow gap. Shin crawls over Park's body. He's almost past the fence when his legs slip, hitting one of the wires. The voltage tears through him. His pants char. His skin burns from ankle to knee. But somehow he makes it through. Park's body lies dead on the fence. Shin runs without looking back for 2 hours straight until he realizes that he made it. He manages to cross the river to China, and after a journey of almost 2 years, he finally reaches South Korea. These are all the prison camps that are most likely active in North Korea today. According to Greg Scarlatoyu, the camps are changing, and not for the better. Camps near the border have reportedly been moved further inland, likely to make escape even harder. And some new internal perimeters have appeared, possibly to isolate high-value prisoners.
The third development, in terms of infrastructure, evolution and development, has been the creation of watchtowers and what appears to be intersecting lines of fire around the camps. They will be meant to basically exterminate those who attempt to leave those camps.
For some camps, evidence is even scarcer.
There's one camp that we know very little about, and that's Camp 16, 1-6. That's very close to the Punggye nuclear testing facility. And I've spoken with the South Korean nuclear scientists who said, look, we don't believe that prisoners are used in digging those tunnels for the nuclear tests, but it is very likely that they will be used and abused while cleaning up after those nuclear tests.
The HRNK estimates that up to 120,000 people are currently held in North Korean prison camps. In fact, as a viewer of this video, you might know more about them than most North Koreans ever will.
We have to remember that these people are being tortured and maimed today. They were tortured and maimed yesterday, and the same will happen tomorrow. So, I think it's a matter of moral, ethical, religious, and political obligation to continue to maintain our interest in these issues.
This is Shin today. He gradually adjusted to a life in society and became a public speaker and advocate for human rights in North Korea. In 2015, Shin Dong-hyuk retracted parts of his story and admitted to changing certain key details in Escape from Camp 14. The book's author published a detailed statement outlining every change Shin had made. According to Shin, some memories were simply too painful and others too shameful to share truthfully at the time. This is a common reaction for victims of torture, who often cope by suppressing or distorting their accounts of what really happened. Greg Scarlatoiu and others believe Shin's changes don't alter the fundamental truth of his reports.
Was Shin Dong-hyuk a political prisoner? Yes, 100%. Okay, he spent some time both at Camp 14 and Camp 18, right across the river. Did he witness the execution of his mother and brother? Yes, he did. So the fundamental elements of Shin Dong-hyuk's story did not change.
Shin bears the scars, physical and psychological. They leave little doubt about the abuse and torture he endured.
That is fucking insane, dude. How that's, going on today. And, fucking scumbag China is helping to protect North Korea.
Or consequential violence, okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop.
Yeah, he shocked his dog. Literally for just getting up, he tortures his fucking dog. What a piece of shit.
Jesus Christ, what are you doing? You're being such a baby. It's just... You're making her stressed. She just literally is so incredibly spoiled from my mom. No, she doesn't want to come over here to see what's up. She just wants to roam the house because she got to roam the house when I was gone.
Oh, wow. A dog doesn't want to sit in a fucking corner all day. Gee. Dude, this fucker should be locked up.
And she needs to literally have the same structured, regimented... I think that clip went to Trump's big baby desk immediately.
Dude, what a fucking piece of shit.
Moved off the pre-positioned place that Cenk's nephew has for said dog. Now, of course, Cenk's nephew is in full denial of this, but in reality, in actuality, the overwhelming evidence shows us that Cenk's nephew does in fact implement a shock collar on his dog, and the reason he has decided to go in this direction, and by the way, based on the yelp of the dog, it appears that that shock collar is turned up all the way to the point where it's actually giving a significant amount of pain to that dog. But the reason he's doing this is because he views the dog, like everything else, including people in his life, as a prop. Remember, this is a guy who got his start in media from his uncle, Cenk Uygur. That's why he's called Cenk's nephew. And of course, as soon as he was able to make money on his own, as soon as he separated from the Young Turks, what's the first thing that he did? He backstabbed his own uncle because his uncle was no longer useful useful to him. Then he crawled right up Destiny's ass in order to glob on to his audience, get growth from him, but as soon as he didn't need Destiny anymore, all of a sudden, Steven is public enemy number one for Jank's nephew. And this is an ongoing, repeated pattern that we've seen time and time again. So we can't be surprised that this socialist who supports violent terrorist organizations also views dogs as props in order to forward himself. Because in reality, you could see right there that small little bed for his big designer dog is perfectly positioned for his dog to be on camera. And there are instances after instances of him raging out on the dog for getting up and moving out of frame during his 8-hour streams. And this is what we're going to talk about today. Jank's nephew obviously implementing a shock dog collar on his dog. I'd say it's about 99% certainty that that's exactly what happened. And of course, the ensuing cover-up, and of course, how this reflects upon Jank's nephew as a person, because it shows us he's an absolute scumbag. But before we get into that, I want to thank you guys for removing the shock collar off of me over.
Yeah, that's fucking horrific and disgusting. I really hope Hassan just goes away. He was bad enough, but now we know he's literally torturing a fucking animal on a daily basis. Dodo Donatillers, it's so bad we can't just send Hassan to North Korean prison camps instead of the North Korean slaves. Yeah, really. The guy loves socialism so much, so he should just be sent to North Korea. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. I gotta take another pee-pee. I'll be right back. Fucking hell, dude. Oh. shit.
Did nothing. So we never did anything all year or since the last show.
Like I would understand it if the dog wouldn't stop barking or something, but just shocking it for no reason is crazy. Dude is a sociopath.
Even if the dog wouldn't stop barking, that's still just fucking retarded. You're only going to make the dog more prone to barking and anxiety if you use, like, literal torture methods to get it to stop. So that's not how you treat an animal. Hassan's just a fucking piece of shit. Like, one of the most rat-fuck scumbag human beings on the planet. Thanks for the donation, though, Ben Boy.
Would you rather be friends with benefits to a vegan black chick or marry a vegan Asian chick? Turn off sound for this second link, the music sucks.
Well, I guess friends with benefits with a black vegan chick, because I'm not fucking getting married again.
It's good, boys. So, I want to tell you the secret of life. The most important thing is to be fucking shredded. Fuck what everyone else is thinking. Just get fucking peak and shredded, sub 8% body fat, find a beautiful Korean wife, and then you have a happy life.
What? When someone offers you one donut, you say no. You want two.
Say no, I don't want one. I want two.
That's good cosplay. Thanks for the donation, dude.
To prep for this. So are we going to make height and weight? We'll have to wait and see. Because we spent 6 months prepping for the show. 6 months to make weight. Not six. And then, and the thing is, why did they change the rules? How can you justify changing something last minute?
A week before.
A week before. A week before. Seriously.
All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got another interesting story for you guys today. I found this to be really, really fascinating. So this was posted by a Brazilian bodybuilding media channel. Leandro Osti is the guy in the video interviewing Mike Sommerfeld's coach, Neil Yoda Hill. Now, I want you to listen to this full interview. I'm going to play it. And I want you to listen to the way that Neil sounds in this. So there's a couple of things I want you to pay attention to. Is how angry and emotional Neil sounds about the decision that the IFBB made to re-height the athletes. And then also, while you're listening to it, does it sound like he's confident that they're going to make weight at this show? Because when you watch this, this is the takeaway that I had from it. He's angry that they're making the decision to re-height the athletes because they've planned on this weight for the entire year. He's planned on being able to weigh 212. And when I was watching this, my thing is, if you're confident that Mike Sommerfeld is the height that he claims to be, why would you be worried at all about them?
I hate gay people, but I think I've changed my mind about gay marriage. They should be able to marry and be accepted, because then my daughter won't procreate with a closet faggot and spread the gay gene.
I guess that works. Thanks for the donation, 21st.
Being reheighted if you truly think he belongs in that height category because that's how tall he is. Now, in Neil's defense, he does sound angry because the IFBB said, look, once you're measured at last year's Olympia, that's going to be your height and weight. We're not going to remeasure you. That's going to be the category that you are in. And that's what Neil's upset about. But again, I think my thing is, if that's truly his height, what is he mad about? Does he not think he's really that tall? What does it matter if he's remeasured? And I think Neil has a point. Like, they changed the rules at the last minute, okay. But if Mike is really that tall, it shouldn't be an issue. And I again, want to give huge credit to the IFBB in the Mr. Olympia because I think they're doing the right thing here. I don't think that Mike tried to cheat last year. I think that they measured him at the top of his hair, and I think that led to maybe a false, inaccurate measurement. And I think the IFBB, yes, they saw all this drama, all this criticism of Mike. But again, I think within all that negativity, there were some legitimate concerning things about the heighting of Mike Sommerfeld. And I think that their decision to remeasure these guys is them saying, look, there's a chance that we were wrong, and we want to make sure there's no discrepancies, no issues. We're going to reheight everybody because, yeah, there are some things. They probably saw some of these posts, some of the pictures that have been going around and thought, okay, maybe we did make a mistake. Let's redo it. And frankly, I don't think that anybody should bash the IFBB or have any issue with that because this is what we want to see. Transparency, accountability, and I think more importantly, humility. The IFBB could easily say, we don't care about any criticism, any feedback from the fans, anything on social media. We're always right. We are never wrong, and there's nothing that anybody can point out on social media that is something that we could have ever gotten wrong or ever something that we need to change. They could take that approach, but they're taking the approach of, okay, maybe we screwed up. Let's make sure that there's no doubt this time around. We're going to do it again, and we're going to live stream it. I think that is huge for the fans. It's huge for the athletes, and it's huge for the direction that the IFBB is going in. But anyway, I'm going to roll this clip. Listen to what Neil Hill, the coach of Mike Sommerfeld, has to say here.
How does the new measuring could affect your athletes on classic physique?
Well, that's a great question. So, this, when I say this is a sensitive conversation or subject, or it is and it isn't. So let me just explain something to you, okay? Every athlete knows that there's a height and there's a weight category, correct? Is that correct?
Sure.
All right. We could probably say that the majority
of... preparing for that.
Okay, you're preparing for that.
Okay.
Did I put those words in your mouth?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell you to say that, right?
No.
You're prepared. How long have they been preparing for that?
A whole year.
A whole year, right?
Yeah.
A whole year. So you just said
Do you feel better now that you've reached Adonis status physique? You already kinda had it before the foods. But is it that much better now? I like black cock, by the way.
Yeah. It's great. I feel better. Thanks for the donation, gay nigga.
Those athletes have been preparing it for how long? A year. And what are they preparing for? Height and weight.
Yeah.
Correct?
Height and weight.
How many athletes last week or last month or...
I mean, he does have a good point. If they're going to, say, okay, prepare for the show, you're this height, you can come in at this weight, and then the last week, he is right on the razor's edge, right, when he was getting heighted in. So if it could go either way, there's obviously going to be some discrepancy when you get heighted in. Your height changes throughout the day. A lot of people don't know this, but you can easily lose up to half an inch to your height throughout the course of the day. There's a fat pad and fluid and stuff underneath your feet. If you're walking around all day, that tissue is going to end up getting compressed, and that'll make you lose height. Your level of hydration also affects your height. you know, the synovial fluid in your joints and in your discs in your spine, that's impacted by hydration. So if throughout the course of the day you end up becoming a little more dehydrated, you're also going to lose height. So, and also, yeah, your spine can be compressed. So if you're lifting heavy weights, that can compress your spine a little bit too. So there's always going to be a discrepancy, like also with the measuring device and who's measuring you and stuff and your hair. If you're right on the razor's edge, you know, like of being like 5'9" or maybe slightly under, slightly over, and you get heighted in, okay, you're over 5'9", and then the last week after training and taking so many drugs and dieting so fucking hard, like a lot of people don't appreciate how fucking difficult contest prep is for bodybuilding. Like, it is one of the most, like, honestly, I think it has to be the most stressful thing you can fucking do. Training for any sport is really fucking hard unless it's like something fucking stupid like walk racing. Like, training for any sport is very stressful and difficult, but like I honestly think bodybuilding prep has to be the most difficult, stressful, just mentally and physically exhausting and just horrific thing you can fucking do. And then a week beforehand, you know, when you've gone through all this fucking stress, they're like saying, oh, we need to height you in again. Maybe you don't qualify. Like, that is fucking bullshit. I think people are saying like, oh, the IFBB has every right to do this and da-da-da. Like, no. That's fucking horseshit. Don't make somebody go through all that fucking contest prep to just like pull it away, like pull the rug out from under you. That's fucked. Like, the only exception I could maybe make to that is if there's like obvious evidence that somehow he cheated, you know, the height thing where he paid somebody off who was doing the height thing. Like, if there was actually some kind of, you know, cheating going on, that's a different story. But, you know, if he was heighted in fair and square, that's the height that he was heighted in at. It's fucking retarded. Like, the height thing too is really fucking dumb because, again, your height can change from day to day depending on the time it's taken. And, like, especially now, a week before the fucking contest, he might be shorter because, like, again, he's taking drugs that are going to dehydrate him. He's probably on aromatase inhibitors to get his estrogen down so that he holds less water. That might shrink him a little bit. Like, it's fucking stupid. Like, it's really dumb.
3 months ago, we're over the weight limit. How many of those athletes?
A lot of them.
How many? 90%? 100%? 50%?
Yeah.
Okay? What are their focus? Their focus is to make weight over weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks.
And now maybe
is that correct?
Everything.
Okay?
Yeah.
If you would have asked an athlete to step on a scale a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, would they be the height, the weight? No. Okay? So what did we do? We spent about 2.5 to 3 months measuring and stretching out, measuring and stretching out, measuring and stretching out, measuring to make the height in the weight category. Yes?
Yeah.
All right? We spent months and months, not just with weight, but with height. We stepped on scales.
You know what? I've been doing dead hangs, not like by gripping the bar, but I have the loops that you can have for that you put under your arms. That makes your back feel fucking incredible. Dead hangs are actually fucking awesome. That, like, it's legit. I've added that to my stretching routine. where I do dead hangs for a couple minutes, it makes your lower back feel so much fucking better. And I do a lot of exercises that have a lot of axial loading. It helps so much.
And we stepped on the measuring stick last year's Olympia. Did we have any control over that?
No.
Are you sure? Sure. Did we have any control over that? Were we measuring?
No.
No. That measuring stick comes down.
Yeah, we watched the Loner Box video where he showed Hassan's lying about it not being a shock collar. It's clearly a shock collar.
Where did it go? On the top of the athlete's head, correct? Did we ask for that?
No.
No, but that's where it was, yes?
Yeah.
Did anybody have anyone have anything under their feet?
No, I don't think so.
Did anyone have anything on top of their hair?
I don't think so.
So my point is that we were told at last year's Olympia that once...
Do you guys remember that fat whale couple where the guy used to make cutesy videos with his girl who would manipulate him into getting lots of pets?
Yeah, great. Thanks for the donation, dude.
you are heighted, that's your fixed height.
That's okay.
So we did
Never
nothing.
changing
So we
anything.
never did anything all year or since the last show to prep for this. So are we going to make height and weight? We'll have to wait and see. Now, do I really have an issue? No, I don't have an issue because, listen, I feel it's important that there's transparency. But you can't go and change the rules, and you can't go around changing things which was said very clearly 12 months ago. Now, it sounds like I'm on the offensive. If I'm offensive, I'm passionate. Because we spent 6 months prepping for the show, 6 months to make...
Yeah, I have a stretching routine. Like, there's no point in making a video about it. It's not very interesting. I do some light stretches in the morning, where I don't try to stretch too deep. If you stretch too much, you're going to cause muscular damage, and it can actually reduce your flexibility. But I just do very light stretching in the morning to kind of loosen up. And then later in the day after training, I do some deeper stretches. They're the same set of stretches. I mostly focus on my groin because that's a problem area. But, you know, stretch my hamstrings, groin, quads, hips, glutes. And I do some, like tricep, shoulder...
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, do you take Richard to be your wife? Do you promise to support him, be faithful?
Yeah, stretch my chest out, you know.
Wait, not 6, and then, and the thing is, why did they change the rules? They changed the rules because of all the negativity on social media. Why is social media negativity listened to? Because it gets views, and it gets hype, and it gets negative criticism. Yeah. So I'm disappointed, but let's focus on what we can do in that time frame. If we're able to hit the height and the weight category, then great. But I'm telling you now on camera, when we stepped on stage, and when we stepped on that weighing scales last year and the height measurements, and when I say scales, height, that would be different. When we stepped on stage,
is Greg or Mike Israetel a worse person? I think they're about as bad as each other, just in different ways.
at the official height and weigh-in, we were exactly where we needed to be. We had nothing under our feet. We had nothing on top of our hair. We got no way of weighing anything. All right? Nothing. But what we did...
Do you have a sports hernia in your groin area? Well, it's... I don't know why they call it a sports hernia. I tore my adductor longus on my left leg. It's a complete avulsion. I talked to a surgeon. They can't operate on it. Well, technically they can, but it's like super, super high risk. I didn't have surgery. One surgeon I talked to said it could reattach on its own. It might have reattached. I haven't gotten any follow-up ultrasound on it. But I got an MRI scan. There was a ton of tendonitis and tendinopathy in my groin, which probably contributed to the tear. And that's one of the reasons why I went on steroids and growth hormone, which helped a lot. It's already way, way fucking better. But yeah, I have a stretching routine and everything to help it heal.
Did have is we had weeks and weeks and months and months and months of affair. And now the Pro League have decided to change what they set out and what they said 12 months ago. Now, I know why they've done that, because they're obviously trying to be thoughtful, to not have criticism, which is something I have a huge amount of respect for. So I don't have a problem with that. But what we've been done, now we've indirectly been penalized, and other athletes potentially may be penalized.
Maybe.
And at the end of the day, we never made the criterias, we never made the statement. They made it, but listen, they made it in a positive, professional way. Sure. They didn't say it in a negative way. They've done nothing wrong. But at the end of the day, once you set a criteria and you make a statement or something, then that to me is what it's supposed to be. How can you justify changing last minute?
A week before.
A week before. A week before. Seriously. You'd imagine, for instance, that you had athletes, they hit the height, they hit the weight criteria, and then they say, okay, from now on, we're not going to be heighting you, we're not going to be weighting you. And then they decide 6 days before, oh, now we're actually going to weight you, and we're also going to height you, even though we told you 12 months ago that's not going to take place anymore. How many athletes will be over the weight?
I got a cold like a month ago.
Maybe a lot.
Maybe a lot.
There's a weird virus going on. It's like a really bad cold. My mom also got it. Everybody at her work also got it. So I probably got the same thing. It wasn't too bad, but yeah, my mom was sick for a while. She still is kind of getting over it. She has a weird cough that hasn't completely gone away, and I also still occasionally have some like congestion. So it's just some like nasty like cold that's been going around.
Maybe a lot. So, I think it's
they will be forbidden to compete, maybe?
Yes, yeah. So again, listen, I'm not criticizing the IFBB Pro League, because I've had conversation with them, all right? And it was a very positive conversation, all right? But we've got 5 or 6 days to prep for this, because I don't think that announcement was made.
And so, again, let me know how you guys interpret this clip in the comments below. The way
I think the whole height thing is stupid. Like, unless they have suspicion that he cheated in some way, they really shouldn't be able to do this. Like, again, especially a week beforehand. If they wanted to do this, like, 3 months ago or 6 months ago or something, they should have done it then.
All right, I just finished a battle with beef, rice, Frank's Red Hot Sauce, and I won. All right, that's why I'm a little sweaty. It was hot. It was spicy. But it was still no match for me. Anyway, so you know what's been in the news recently?
Does your mom agree with you taking steroids? She's on steroids now. She started taking Anavar. She is a healthcare professional, right? No. She works at a hospital, but she is not a healthcare professional. But yeah, she's on steroids now. She's on Anavar. I think she's only taking 2.5 milligrams. I can't remember if she started off with 2.5 or 5 milligrams. But I know she wanted to be very conservative. That'd be weird to split a 10 milligram pill into quarters. I think that's a little too precautious, especially with Anavar.
Recently, well, I mean, the fitness gossip news, Mike Israel, okay? And talking about his PhD being kind of bogus. He might have been some nepotism or favoritism.
She literally only started taking it like 2 days ago, dude. So.
Okay. Going on there. I don't know if people have made that accusation, but it seems like the people weren't being too, there wasn't lots of intellectual rigor when people were studying his paper or adjudicating it. And so, that's the right word. Anyways, I printed out his credentials on this piece of paper, but I was trying to save money, but I got my credentials printed on the other side, and unfortunately it bled through a little bit because I also cheaped out on the piece of paper. I should have asked for extra thick, but I got Chinese super thin cheapo paper. Anyways, so let's check it out, okay? All right, so I'm gonna have to flip this video around. East Tennessee State University. All right, so right there you got a problem. All right, Tennessee itself is bad enough, but Eastern Tennessee, I'm pretty sure that's near West Virginia. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I need to go check on a map, but it's pointing towards West Virginia, and we all know what goes on in West Virginia. Have you seen the documentary Deliverance? All right, so how is someone like that going to teach you anything about lifting weights? Okay? Some guy, I don't even want to say it. It's graphic, okay? All right? He's a sports physiologist.
Asking if Anavar is as safe as testosterone is an outrageously stupid question. It's a different drug that does different things.
Top G, okay? And this is the
Thanks for the membership, Heliac. Appreciate it.
same one that he has. He has it in his video. It's behind him on the wall. I got big font though, because some people have trouble seeing. If I printed out his, it's hard to see. It's hard to see. So I made it big font. Okay. All right. Now let's go over my credentials. Okay. All right. He called himself doctor. Well, guess what? All right. And I didn't just make this title up. People have been calling me this for years. All right. And this is my birth name. That's what my mom named me. Okay. That's my family's last name right there. It's hyphenated. It's kind of like O'Malley or O'Hearn. Tow truck. All right. I have some Irish blood. That's where it comes from. It's the Irish side. Esquire. All right. And that means I'm Esquire. So that means I'm going to be a knight eventually. Okay. Famshaw. That's the best college in Canada. People talk about McGill or some university in Toronto. Famshaw. Okay. All right, because it's not just about learning. Sometimes you gotta kick back and chillax with your fam. All right, that was when it was first erected back in 1889. That's what Johnny MacDonald, the guy who opened the university, that's what he wanted people to embrace. Not just learning, but friendship. And so, Gen Z pretending like they invented that word fam for family.
What's your current progression scheme for your compound lifts? Double progress, linear, pyramid, etc.? And what is your opinion on main gaining in terms of building muscle while reducing fat gain? Do you believe it is superior to a lean bulk or no thanks?
It depends on the lift. It's either a double progression or linear. But it depends on the lift. For most isolation work, it's almost always double progression. And for compound lifts, it's usually linear. But it just depends. And it also depends on how well I'm progressing on a given lift. What's your opinion on main gaining in terms of building muscle while reducing fat gain? Again, it entirely depends. If you're on steroids, then you might as well main gain. At least if you're responding well to the drugs. Because why would you get fatter if you could just go on steroids and you can leverage the additional anabolism to just build muscle easy and not get fat? If you're natural, then in all likelihood, especially when you're in an advanced stage, you're gonna have to like bulk and gain body fat. So it entirely depends. If you can main gain, then main gain. If you can't, then you're gonna have to bulk. Thanks for the donation though, Justin.
Hey Richard, how are you doing? I watched your workout stream earlier today. I've been in StreamRN and I saw a troll use my name. It wasn't really me. Also, I liked this buck tow truck guy until I figured out he is anti-Jew, discreetly. Check his comments.
Oh. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, that's really not good. I'm doing good, though. Thanks for the donation, CDG. I joined so I can see your training vids and copy your routine. You probably don't want to copy my routine because it's very, very high volume, and the only reason I'm able to manage that amount of training volume is because I'm on steroids right now. If you look at my videos before August 1st, that would be a little more sensible to copy because I was natural then, and I was doing less training volume. Even then, like, it's kind of stupid to just copy somebody's routine, because it may not be appropriate for you. Everybody has their own specific training needs and what kind of volumes and intensities they can handle. Are you saying that people who are skinny fat should go on steroids to build muscle and lose fat? No. It's not what I'm saying.
That's so old.
He leaves the comments up, and on other vids he's even liked them. And in his videos he'll put in tiny little comments about being anti-Jew that are discreet so he doesn't get banned, but it's a bit of what he's saying. So I'd if you wanna watch him. Disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, you know. Maybe if he's exposed to enough sensible people, he'll change his mind. Thanks for the donation, CDG. Do you have any concern about steroids potentially shortening your life expectancy? You have no idea how fucking irritating that is to be asked that question about a dozen times a day. I wish I could just tell all of you to not ask me that and shut the fuck up. I know you don't mean anything by it, but it's fucking annoying. But to answer your question, I have two responses to that. There's no reason whatsoever to believe steroids shorten your life expectancy. And two, even if they did, which there's a non-zero chance, like, I could be wrong, like, maybe they could shorten your life under the right set of circumstances. We all die. What does it matter if you die today, tomorrow, 10 years, 100 years? You're dead anyway. There's no escaping that fate. There's no afterlife. There's no going to some paradise or any life. There's no afterlife where you can reminisce on anything that happened, anything you did. You don't get to keep, your memories, and all the people who ever knew you are going to die. Everything and everyone and everything you did will be forgotten like it never fucking happened, and that includes your own experiences and your own memory of things. Everything just disappears, goes away, including all the hate, happiness, love, joy, misery, sadness you've ever had. So what the fuck does it matter? I'm on steroids to get the most out of what I can out of life while I have it. So if they shorten my life by, let's be very generous and say, maybe 10 years. Let's say I would have lived to 85, which I think is the average life expectancy right now. And instead, I died at 75. Who fucking cares? Whoopie fucking diddly do. Makes no difference. I would have died anyway. So if I can enjoy life more while I have it, I don't really care if they shorten my life by a little bit. And I don't even believe that to be the case to begin with, but even if that were the case, there's a possibility I'm wrong. Who fucking cares? We're all dead anyway.
It's so old. Plagiarism as usual. Please. And by the way, Gen Z, us millennials, we want our bad fashion and style back, okay? Get your own. All right. What does this say? Famshaw Academy of Extreme Knowledge. Yes. What other kind of knowledge? What other way to go about learning than in an extreme fashion? All right. I better remember to flip this video around. All right. Oh yeah, and I got my PhD in an exercise anthropology there. All right. And then I was
How do you know for sure that there's no afterlife? For the same reason I'm sure there's no Santa Claus. It's a stupid fucking idea. This afterlife bullshit is just a cope for fucking loser bitch retards who are scared of the real world. If you're a weak beta male fucking faggot, you're gonna believe in the afterlife because you're too much of a fucking pussy to accept reality. The reality is the universe doesn't fucking care about you. There's no fucking God that's gonna put you into a happy place after you fucking die. It's all a load of fucking bullshit because you're too much of a fucking pussy to face the real world.
I was labeled a conventional deadlift supremacist. Okay? And hopefully you can fucking read that. But exercise anthropology, I was the only guy in the class, unfortunately. And I was the teacher too. But when you're trying to pioneer a new field of study, that it might be a little lonesome. So, and then conventional deadlift supremacist. After years of study, okay, after days of study, maybe minutes, I realized that conventional deadlift is not only supreme, but also the only.
I think Brian Johnson went off testosterone replacement therapy. He was on it for a little bit and he went off. I don't know if he went back on again.
The option you have, because what are you going to do? Be gay? That includes trap bar guys. All right, so don't do that. All right, pull on the bar like a man, and if you're a girl, also pull on the bar like a man. Anyways, I hope you like my thing here. I think I might put it up beside Stone Cold. I think that'll look pretty good. I should probably photocopy Mike so I can have his there too. Just to remind me that we're at the upper echelon of, well, he claims to be. I'll have to test him in person to see if he's got the same level of knowledge that I do. But hopefully he's not telling a fib, and we can be we can. It's kind of like, it'll be like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. Remember, he's like, Luke, this is exactly what he said. He said, Luke, together we can rule the galaxy as father and son. And Mike, I know you're a little older than me, but I'm your spiritual father. So, what Darth Vader said, just play that back. And I'm saying that to you, okay? See you in a bit.
He's back on test. Yeah, I mean, in all likelihood, the testosterone was making him feel better. That alone would probably be good enough motivation to just go back on. And on top of that, it probably had beneficial effects on his lipid markers, insulin sensitivity. So the research on this is already pretty clear-cut. At least with men with androgen deficiency, testosterone replacement lowers your risk of all-cause mortality. So at least in cases where you're talking about androgen deficiency, testosterone replacement is clearly beneficial. It's a different case when you're talking about performance enhancement. That's not really researched at this point, and you kind of have to rely on speculation, anecdotes, and shit like that. But I've seen plenty of people living to old age who are fitter and healthier on steroids versus off, so... Yeah, steroids really work, dude. Random donate teller, sorry, but are you willing to dick me down? I'm really gay and I want your big black cock with the pink tip right in my ass, puncture my intestines with your huge cock, please, Daddy Richard. I need your huge king cock in my mouth. I want to slurp all your cum. Maybe later. Thanks for the donation, Random. Yeah, I want to get my squat up to that level. I'm putting in the effort. I also ordered that Rogue Rhino belt squat. That should be coming in like they said it's going to ship in 2 to 4 weeks. I'm hoping, it's been a week right now, or a little over a week. I'm hoping in the next week it ships and then I get it in like maybe a week later. I really want that fucking belt squat. I like check the fucking shipping status every few hours. It drives me nuts when I order something and I just don't know when the fuck it's coming in. That Rogue Rhino belt squat is so fucking dope.
probably the best piece of equipment that Rogue has produced to date.
I also ordered it with the low row attachment, so I'll be able to use it for low rows too, which is great. There's like it's basically a cable machine. Only the cable's like at the bottom. So there's a few exercises I'll be able to do with it. I think I can also use it for like rear delt laterals and shit.
After nearly 100 equipment reviews and having the Rogue Rhino for more than a year and a half, it remains...
Random donations, not later. Fuck me now, Richard. You're my big black daddy, and I need your huge cock in my butthole. Please ram your cock down my throat and make me choke and gag. Piss all over my face after you desecrate my body with your cum and sweat. I want cock. I'm a little busy right now, but thanks for the donation, Random.
My favorite piece of home gym equipment. I can safely squat without axial loading and minimal shear forces. Narrow and wide squats feel equally effective. Another great feature is the machine is so overbuilt, the carriage doesn't need to be loaded equally. So 745s, for example, doesn't...
Dodo donators, can we play Silent Hill F now? 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 Can we play Silent Hill F now also? That's pretty cool. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Doesn't create undue friction. The built-in band feature is great for marches, and the band tension feels good for my lower back when simply standing. The cable's path travels vertically, making it great for curls, shrugs, and calf raises to name a few, and if I had the machine turned the other way, I could do cable rows and other exercises. After nearly...
Yeah, that'll also be nice for calf training, so I don't have to load the weight on my back. I farted.
So I've used just about every piece of equipment that Rogue makes. I wouldn't say every piece of equipment because they have a large catalog, but I've used a lot of them. Everything from their racks to their reverse hypers to their Rogue Echo bike to, you know, because they've started to do more machines now and not just their standard welded together units. This type of thing takes a lot of engineering. I haven't used anything from Rogue that feels as premium, as smooth, and just performs as well as the Rogue Rhino belt squat. Now, is this the best belt squat that's out there? Well, I'm not gonna give a definitive yes on that because I still have others to try. For instance, Squat Max MD is sending us one of their units to test against this one. I'd love to test the Wenning belt squat. I was talking to Matt Wenning previously, and I know that he really feels that that's a great option, and I think it is too, but I don't wanna compare this one to that one if I haven't used that one. But I can
The Matt Wenning belt squat's fucking stupid.
Say that this, and compared to the Titan belt squat, is really a vast difference. Okay, the comparison between the two, there's just a wide ocean between them, and I would say that the difference between them is larger, quite a bit larger than the cost between them. The Rogue Rhino belt squat comes in 3 options. You've got your drop-in option that just drops in and bolts into a Rogue monster rack.
Random donators, please fart in my mouth. Daddy, Richard, I want to smell every shit particle that comes out of your asshole. Please piss in my asshole and give me an E. coli infection. I want your cum in my ears, eyeballs, and nose, and I want to drown and swim in your cum, sexy daddy. That reminds me of a conversation I had on OnlyFans. Some fucking dude had some like weird fetish where he wanted to like eat my shit, and he almost got me banned. Fucking weird. Thanks for the donation, Random.
You got the option that comes with a monster rack already all together, and then you've got this one, the one that I'm reviewing, the one that I received, and the one that I think most people will get is the standalone version. Now, after using the standalone version, I can say without a doubt it's awesome. That said, for most garage gym owners, for most people that are trying to maximize their space, the option that I would suggest is the drop-in option, the option that actually goes in the power rack. And the reason for that is, well, there's quite a few
I
reasons. And I'll get to those.
tried watching Hunter x Hunter. It bored the fuck out of me, and I hated the character designs and the animation. I haven't seen JoJo, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. A lot of people like it, and JoJo fans are probably the most crazy, insane anime fans, where they like try to convince you with all their might to watch fucking JoJo. So I don't know if JoJo's any good, but I did not like Hunter x Hunter. I just couldn't even fucking get into it.
In a second, but one thing that must be said is Rogue suggests that the standalone option, and this is the one that most people will buy, has to be bolted to the ground. Okay, this is something that they have all over their website. They have stickers actually on the unit. Now, I'll be the first to say I have not bolted this down. I've used it. I actually maxed it out. I'm just going to do a single. I may fail at this weight, but see how it works because it's not bolted down.
Random Nightillers, that was me on OnlyFans. Sorry, Daddy, you really do want to eat your shit. Please shit in a box and mail to me. I want to put your blender and drink it all. Please eat extra Brussels sprouts for more crunchy poop texture. Please then come on my mouth afterwards. I don't think I'll be doing that. Thanks for the donation, Random.
Nope. I've got a 465 squat or so, and I maxed it out on however many plates I put on there. Couldn't get it up. And I haven't had any issue with it. The only time we have issues is if you're off the platform, okay? So if you plan to use this off the platform, you're gonna wanna have it bolted down. However, if you're using it on the platform, you know, if you probably wanna stick to Rogue's warnings, but that said, in my experience, we've been able to use it without bolting it down to the platform if we're just using it on the bolting it down to the ground if we're just using it on the platform. Now, what Rogue's done is taken a similar idea as the Westside athletic training platform, the Westside ATP, developed by Louis Simmons and his team over there, and they basically made a smaller version with a different cable stack. In fact, I would say that their cable stack, the column that they're using, is superior to the one that the ATP uses. Now, I haven't used the ATP, so I can't say definitively, but I can say that this uses these rollers along the side that basically go along the column, which is a 3x6 column. In my opinion, that is likely
Yeah, Inuyasha was a good anime. I really liked Inuyasha.
going to last longer than something that uses guide rods. Guide rods are going to take a lot of maintenance, basically because you don't want them to get rust, and over time we've seen it with lat pull downs. They can have issues. I haven't seen any problems with this. You can load either side. You don't have to load them equally, and you can, you know, just use it just fine. It's very smooth. The cable comes under, and I was told by Rogue, platform is a 1-to-1 ratio. So whatever you put on there, it's gonna be what it would be in reality, okay? Out from the wall, actually belt squat for that matter, has a wide range of versatility. Grips really well, the texture is great, but I am a little bit worried since it's powder coated that it's gonna chip, and except for the handles and the floor. It kind of looks weird. I'd say I don't really know why they went with a roughness. Please, please, please take this idea and use it on your specialty bars. The fact that your specialty bars are powder coated, the fact that your Rogue Reverse Hyper, which I have sitting next to me right here, I'm looking at right now, and it's chipped, the weight horns on there are chipped, they're also powder coated. Just make them all stainless steel, just like you use here. It would be awesome, okay? But
We have one of these at my local Anytime Fitness. I've tried it a few times, but felt weird for me as I'm a bit shorter. I've used a belt squat before. It wasn't a cable one. It was one of the like lever ones. I really liked it. Like, I don't know. If you use a new piece of equipment, it might just be a bit weird for you. But I've used a belt squat before, and I've really liked them. Random donate shit my mouth, please, Daddy Richard. I'm not watching that. Thanks for the donation, Random.
But the ones on here are stainless steel. They're super engineering and putting this on the drawing board. Rogue isn't known to be the quickest to come out with their ideas. You know, the Rogue trolley system has been in the hopper since like 2012. You know, it'd be awesome if they came out with stuff quicker, but you can kind of tell they take their time because they want to get it right the first time, and they don't want to make this.
I am rather excited to get this.
What's up, guys? Main man Sui here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always.
So please check out the footage. You've just seen Jack Black and Jason Momoa. Classic Muay Thai thingy, you know. And then the head hat. But he basically the most beloved legacy character. And then with that comes a huge defensive patch, which really reshapes the game. I know they couldn't change their DLC.
Okay. Random donators, please just watch the video. She says something at the end that I thought was interesting. It's really good. I'm not watching that. Thanks for the donation, dude.
Whenever you train calves, do you just use a dumbbell/barbell and stand on your tippy toes?
Well, if you watch the workout stream I just did, I use a safety squat bar and I have a platform that I stand on, and it's just like a calf raise machine. Thanks for the donation, though, Blur. Alright. I'm gonna sleep now. Greta Thunder Thighs when tell her, so Greta pulls up on a scooter, not electric or push, but a elliptical style scooter ready to make the earth spin. She talks your ear off about dust storms and erosion and things only a farmer could entertain. Then she says, Farval, that means bye in Swedish. Okay, great. Thanks for the donation, dude. Alright, I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed. But hope you all had fun.
Let me guess about to say, well, it is late, and I'm tired. I should be on tomorrow around 6 p.m. Eastern. Thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs. Really appreciate it. Good night.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. Thanks for the donation, Random. So, should be on tomorrow. I might do another workout stream. I'm not sure, though. But in any case, I'll be on tomorrow night. So I'll see you all then. Big thanks to everyone who donated on Streamlabs. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Nighty-night.